We're at the home of the Huskies for a special edition of the Riverside TV High School Football Game of the Week. It is CIF playoff time, a Division V first-rounder between John W. North and Capistrano Valley. Welcome from 3rd in Chicago. Ghazal Hassan and Jeff Gorham back with you. And Jeff, let's just jump right into it. The Huskies of John W. North, 10-0 on the year, Sun Belt League champs, largely because of their defense. If you go back to the spring, they've won 13 straight games, allowing just over 8 points per game, and that's because of their linebacking core. Tupou and Toki, the law firm, they have litigated many offenses into the poorhouse this year. They want to try to keep it going and build some hours tonight so the Huskies can advance in the CIF playoffs.
Well, forget those guys. Let's talk about the guys up front, the seasoned veterans. We saw them in week 2, and today they are ready to go. They are matured, and they have a championship in their sights. Look out for the big boys up front.
All right, let's flip over to the invaders from the west, from Orange County, the Cougars of Capistrano Valley. Their starship is piloted by their junior quarterback, Trey Kukuk. He has got 3 Ks in his name, Jeff, and it is apt. He's thrown for 3,000 yards on the year, 31 touchdowns. Not only that, he is their leading rusher with 782 yards and 11 touchdowns. To add that, they've run a gauntlet in terms of their schedule. The teams they played, they beat 3 league champions. 8 of the 10 teams on their schedule were between Division 3 and 6. The 2 lowest-rated teams they played were Santiago out of the Big 8 Division 7 team and Aliso Niguel, who's a Seaview League game for them, and they were in Division 8. It's a tough draw for the Huskies, not your typical first-round matchup.
Not your typical first round, but you have a quarterback. Not only did he throw 3,000 yards, he threw 600-plus yards in one single game in a victory. They are automatic from the offensive side of the football. North is going to have to stop that high-powered offense.
Opie Vaipula, the head coach of the Huskies, all year, he has been preaching one game at a time. We'll see if his boys can practice what he's preaching tonight in the first round of the CIF playoffs. We're back with the Huskies and the Cougars coming up next, the CIF on Riverside TV.
The Riverside County Transportation Commission has partnered with California Operation Lifesaver to educate Riverside County residents about how to be safe around trains and railroad tracks. Here are 3 safety facts you need to know. First, trespassing on train tracks is not only dangerous and can lead to serious injury, it is also illegal. Second, you may not always be able to hear a train coming, which is why it's important to always stay off and away from tracks. And finally, it can take a train up to a mile to come to a complete stop. If an object or person is on the tracks and the train can't stop in time, unfortunately, a collision may occur. Now that you're the expert, you can help us spread the word by sharing these important safety messages with your friends and family. We thank you for practicing rail safety.
You are looking live at 3C in the city of Riverside, 3rd in Chicago. The Cougars of Capistrano Valley on the Huskies of John W. North. You know what time of year it is, Jeff?
Playoff time.
It's playoff time. That's right. You've been practicing real hard, so Playoff Santa will bring you a new microphone. The old Bruce Springsteen song, of course. Hey, welcome, folks. Ghazal and Jeff back with you. Couldn't be any more fun. The Huskies and the Cougars about ready to kick it off. Capistrano Valley won the toss. They will receive the kickoff. They did not defer. They decided to take the football. Back deep to receive for Capo Valley, Jaden Cassidy along with Mark Hopkins. Teeing it up for John W. North is Jose Lara. So we talked in the open, Jeff, about how the defense is what got JW North this far. Well, here we go. This is how we're going to start the game. Their best against your best. The offense for Capo Valley, extremely explosive. They averaged 34 points a game on the season, 424 yards against a JW North team that allowed just 9.3 points per game this year. If you take it back to the last 3 games of the spring, just a tick over 8 points over their last 13 games, all wins.
This is great. I'll tell you what, we've been talking about this game all week long. The offense, the great quarterback that we're going to see here. There is a pedigree of quarterbacks that has gone through Capo Valley, and this young man, Kukuk, is no different than any of those other guys.
Lara ready to make the approach. And, of course, the ball tumbles off the tee, and he'll have to reset it.
The ball was scared, Ghazal. It was scared.
The Cougars were co-champions in the Seaview League. It was a 3-way tie between them, El Toro, and Trabuco Hills. The Cougars beat Trabuco Hills in a thrilling overtime game. That was the one you were talking about where Kukoc threw for 600 yards and they lost to El Toro. On the turf, ball loose. Here come the Huskies. And it's recovered by Hopkins for Capo Valley. So the Cougars will start inside the 20. Here's the offense, and we talked about Trey Kukoc, but look at his cadre of wide receivers. Owen Taylor, Dane Benedicts, Mark Hopkins, each caught 10 touchdown passes. Their left tackle, Luke Meyer, also big-time player for Capistrano Valley.
And I'll tell you, they're big up front, but they are fast. And I believe in that game they had 600 yards passing. They had 4 guys with 100-yard games.
Receiving, yeah.
That's an amazing stat right there.
But how about being that democratic? You have 3 stud receivers. They each catch the same number of touchdown passes. 1st and 10 from the 20. Kukoc flings it out. This is Owen Taylor dancing. Up to the 25. Dives down. First man to him was Terrence Brown for John W. North. 5-yard pickup on the play.
Yeah, in that game, he broke an Orange County record by 2 yards. It was 615 yards. The record was 613.
And it wasn't until they went back through the film, right? Because I think
yeah.
initially they said he didn't break it, and then they went back through. So instead, they marked that up to the 27, so a 2nd and 3. That's Hopkins in motion for Capo Valley. And whistles and flags come in. False start going to be called, first penalty on the Cougars. I mean, some of the scores, Jeff, you look up and down the schedule of Capo Valley, they won a game 59-56, and they won it, I think, with less than a minute to play.
Yes, they did.
Third and 8. Split out to the bottom of your screen is Owen Taylor. Play action right to Taylor, down at the 30, and immediately will be tackled just inside the 30. Let's see how close he is to the first down. Getting there to combine on the hit, Tyjon Payne and Mafaleo Tupo. They're going to say first down, they'll move it up. Throw up the defense.
That is where it's going to be a little difficult. They're going to get quick hitters. North, that secondary's got to step up, maybe jump a gap here, try to see if they can get a takeaway.
Taylor is their go-to guy. Here's Kukoc rolling, throwing the ball down the field. Hopkins incomplete. Right on him is Elijah Hughes, and we'll get a look at the John W. North defense. We talked about the law firm of Tupo, and Toki, but as you mentioned, the defensive front has matured. Particularly watch Christian Wilson, the defensive tackle, and the junior defensive end, Danny Sandoval. And the secondary has been good all year. Lindsay has been the big surprise, and Rohan Preston, he's your big playmaker back there in the secondary for John W. North. 2nd and 10 coming up. Line is the 30. And we'll get another false start. So those linebackers, I mean, not only are they good in the field, in the open field, you got to think about them when you're the opposing offense.
Apparently they are, because they've had 2 false starts. I'm sure they're looking at those guys as they're licking their chops.
So call it 2nd and 15. Hopkins in the near slot for Capo Valley. Empty backfield. Here's the throw right to Taylor, and he'll go down immediately on the near side. Making the play again, Tyjon Payne stepping up and making the tackle. Complete for a nominal gain.
And that's where the defense from North is really going to come in. They're so quick on the outside. You can't throw deep on them because they will go toe-to-toe, man-to-man, as we'd like to probably see. Capo Valley could have problems with this man defense.
Yeah, I asked Opie Vaipulu, and I asked him, hey, you going to go man on these guys? And he said, we're going to do our best. He's like, if I can go 4-on-3, of course, that's what I'm going to do. Meaning if you can play 4 defensive backs on 3 receivers, you have an advantage. Kukoc's going to go and try to stretch the field over the top. Incomplete. Intended for Hopkins. On the coverage was Elijah Hughes. And 4th down coming up. What an arm he's got. You can see why he's successful, Jeff.
He's got a quick release, and I mean, I tell you, he really can. You can see he watches all his progressions, and he tries to find the easiest or the best and smartest play. Just been a little off with his throws, but great arm, great speed with that release.
Now, I know how much you like kickers. You like this guy even better. Gavin Thompson, the senior punter for Capo Valley, basketball player. 6'6". They love him because you can't snap it over his head. Because not only is he 6'6", he can jump. Takes a little bit of a north bounce, will be down at the 48-yard line. So a 22-yard kick, no return, and good field position for J-Dub as they start here in the first quarter. Offense, we know about Venancio Micaele, but how about Jaden Gamble? What a year he's had, and that receiving core of Granger, Ayala, Calhoun doing a great job.
Oh, man, and Gamble came over a transfer and just has been phenomenal this entire season. Remember, last year we didn't get to see much of him because of an antiquated season, but he has been magnificent all season long with those deep crew of receivers.
A little bit of a tweak to the offensive line. We'll tell you about it. As here's the give to Micaele, pounding into Capo territory. He'll rumble down inside the 40 to the 39. A 13-yard run on his first run from scrimmage from Venancio Micaele.
I'm going to be sad when we're not going to call any more games for this guy. We've seen him since he was just a young freshman jumping over guys the first game he played.
And the one thing you tell you about Micaele, he looks for contact. Bounces off of two guys and finally making the tackle, Colby Hauser. Kind of overrided him too. Jack Culver had to help out for Capo Valley. So a first down for the Huskies on the 39 of Capistrano Valley. A little bit of a tweak. TJ Tarasio, right tackle. They're running behind him on that play. Gamble to throw. He goes to the left side. That's complete to Calhoun. Jeremiah Calhoun goes inside the 30 to about the 26-yard line. That's a 13-yard completion from Gamble to Calhoun.
So 2 plays, 2 first downs.
Look at that Capistrano defense, and that's the thing about the Cougars. You know, we got a two-way guy, Luke Meyer, playing inside. Their best player is their linebacker, the sophomore Jackson Sievers, and then Dane Benedict's their strong safety. Those guys are both big-time players, and they're both playing on both sides of the football. Here's Elliott running right. Elliott around Tarasio. Nice little swim move inside. He's inside the 10, pushed out of bounds at about the 6-yard line. 20 more yards on that run, and that's the pin and the push to the outside. Couldn't quite get there. It seems like Capo may be about a step slow right now against John W. North on the defensive side. They're going to mark it at the 8-yard line.
So 3 plays, 3 first downs. Not a bad start for the Huskies.
Just running the ball behind the big boys up front, and TJ Tarasio just going back and slobber knocking somebody. They're looking at the right side. Here's the give up the middle, and Micaele to pay dirt. Touchdown, John W. North. Venancio Micaele into the end zone, and the Huskies jump out on top.
Well, their defense did their job. Offense as well. Both in sync here to start this early.
52-yard drive. It was 4 runs and 1 pass, Jeff. Micaele had 2 of them for 21 yards and the touchdown here at 8:29 of the first quarter. The PAT pumped through by Jose Lara. And look at Hassan Elliott. Look how excited he is. Get a look at that touchdown run again off this first drive. The defense forces the punt. And then look at the big boys knocking people down. Andrew Castro with the kick-out block. Castro, the junior, smothers somebody, and Micaele just slides inside. Not that Micaele needs to slide ever, but it's nice that when you can go in without having somebody draped all over you.
You got to like that. I mean, that's just going to be tougher for Capo later on. You got to put a body on him, or he's just going to continue.
Now, we'll talk about something we talked about before the game. You know, a big part of what the Huskies bring is the intimidation, right? That defense is so ferocious, you fall behind them a couple of scores, and all of a sudden you're like, okay, we're done. That's not the kind of team Capo Valley is.
No, Capo Valley, I mean, what did you say, they were down 19 at one point during the season?
They were down double digits twice. They were down double digits against Trabuco Hills in the second half. They're down double digits against Aliso Niguel, and they came back to win both games. So this team is confident they can win. They don't care about the deficit, because as long as they have time on the clock, they have time to score.
Yeah, when you put up, you said 59-56 win, I bet that game went till midnight.
I did not know that. Did it go to midnight?
Probably.
59-56. Yeah. The one thing you can say, though, the one advantage I think the Cougars have over the Huskies, Jeff, is they're super battle tested.
Oh, they've played great teams.
Yeah. Now, the schedule is not anybody's fault, right? You play who's put in front of you. You got to beat who's put in front of you. Here's Hopkins bringing it back, and down he goes. Look at Preston. Rohan Preston, hair on fire on special teams, makes the tackle, and from the 25, that is where Capo Valley will start it off. You talked about the defensive line, Jeff, in the open and how they have matured. And Sandoval, Abakarli, Wilson, and DeCastro have been a solid unit. Now listen, you can pin your ears back when behind you are Tupou, and Toki, but they had to come together a little bit, Jeff.
Yeah, and who better than Coach Vaiapulu? He is the line coach.
Yeah.
He's the man in charge.
1st and 10 from the 25. 3 receivers to the top of your screen. Kukuk rolling right, looking down the field. He'll fling it, completed about the 34-yard line. Making the catch is Dane Benedict's. Tackle on the play by Lisitoa Toki.
And remember, early in the year, North was getting a lot of penalties, a lot of, targeting penalties, personal fouls. Teams were scared to play them, but they've seemed to have mellowed out, learned, from each other. And I'll tell you, those can be intimidating factors watching film if you're Capo Valley.
Here's Cassidy right up the middle on the quick hitter. He gets to midfield. Not a lot of runs on the year for Jaden Cassidy, but that was a good one. That'll get him 15 yards.
Yeah, Kukuk was their leading rusher.
Cassidy had about 300 yards on the season. Nice change of pace, running right up the middle. From the John W. North side of the field, now 1st and 10 from the 49. Benedict's in motion. Another false start. That's the 3rd false start on Capo Valley. Our officiating crew tonight, they're a Long Beach crew. Jerry Troutman is our white hat. Andrew Thomas is the umpire. James Reeves, the head linesman. Kevin Ellis, the line judge. Darnell Anderson, the back judge. So move it back 5. 1st and 15 from the Capo side of the field. They're 46. Here comes the pressure, incomplete. And when you got big Leo Topu flying in your face, you need to get rid of the ball quickly. Look how quickly he got to the quarterback as Kukuk gets rid of the ball fairly quickly. 1-2, and there he is. Incomplete, 2nd and 15 coming up.
And that's what North is going to want to do. They're going to want to rush the passer. If you give him too much time in the pocket, he can really pick you apart.
26 yards through the air so far for Kukuk. He's 4 of 8. But as Jeff mentioned, he can heat up in a hurry. Kukuk, empty backfield. Stepping up. He can run as well. Here he is in the open field. He sees big Leo Topu. He's going to take a dive down, but he gets the first down to the 39. How about that?
Yeah, that's a smart move.
Nice pressure by DeCastro on the outside. Wilson couldn't quite twist off, and he sees those long flowing locks and said, you know what? I'm just going to take the first down. Swing to the outside to Benedicts. He's in the open field, trying to get to the edge, and pushed out at about the 33-yard line. Shoving him out of bounds there was, hello, Rohan Preston. About 5 yards. So 5 of 9 now through the air is Kukuk. 2nd down and 5 from the 33 of North. And movement now, first penalty on North. He's going to give them, meaning give Capo Valley a first down, unless he was drawn. That's Walingi Paea getting caught on that one. So 5 yards, and he'll move the sticks. First down, Capo to the 28-yard line. talking to Matt Walter before the game, he feels Paella is going to be a big impact. Just kind of got eligible a couple of weeks ago. And you can move him around, play him a lot of different positions. From the 28 of North. Cassidy in motion. They'll throw back the other way, incomplete. There might have been a cross up there. I'm not sure if any of the linemen reported eligible, but the closest player to that was a lineman, and it's incomplete. So 2nd and 10 coming up. Taylor to the near side. Closest to the quarterback on the far side is Benedicts. Kukik looking up top, one-on-one. Preston and Owen Taylor incomplete.
Great defense there by Preston. He didn't worry so much about the man, put his hand in a passing lane, just put it up there. Great stop by Preston.
That secondary for North extremely talented, and Preston may be the best of the bunch. The senior.
There's that man-to-man coverage we were talking about.
Yeah. Now, I think against Capo, you got to play man.
You have to.
If you sit in the zone, he's going to pick you apart, meaning Trey Kukik. Rolling to the right side. Throwing it, slinging it on one hop, incomplete. So 4th down coming up.
Kukik tried to go for the home run ball there. He had a couple guys open. He just didn't see him in his progression. But
yeah, Paella comes through there, kind of flushes him out, and then he thought he had a man, looked downfield. But again, coverage pretty good. That was a little bit underthrown. Benedict's trying to come back to the ball, and right behind him is Devin Toki. So 4th and 10, offense going to stay out there. Analytics at work in football. 3 receivers to the top of the screen. Benedict's right next to him is Mark Hopkins, and then Kyle Felter is at the top of your screen. To the bottom of your screen is Owen Taylor. 4th and 10. Kukik with time. DeCastro chasing him. He's going to loft it. He's got a man. It's complete to Benedict's for the first down inside the 10-yard line. Down to about the 4. How about that? Picking up the 4th down conversion.
Yeah, big-time play there. As you see Kukik, he runs out, gets out of the pocket. He probably could have ran and got the first down, but just threw it right over the top, a little lob play. As Toki would have had to make a decision, I think Toki made the right decision, or it would have been a touchdown if he would have rushed the quarterback there.
They'll put it down at the 5-yard line. Here's Kukik trying to run. He runs right into Christian Wilson, stopped at the 5-yard line. So 2nd down and goal coming up for Capo Valley. So that's what we talked about with the resiliency of this offense. When you have a prolific offense like this, a score or two doesn't bother you. Yeah, they're down 7-0, but you mentioned they played a game where it was 59-56, so I would argue that the scoring probably not done tonight for both teams. 2nd and goal. Looking the other way now, looking to the near side. Benedict's one-on-one and a touchdown. Touchdown, Capo Valley. Dane Benedict's with the catch. Trey Kukik with his 32nd touchdown pass of the year. And just like that, it's a 7-6 game.
It's like watching, have you ever seen the grown man flag football games that just they throw every time? That's exactly what it looks like. This is fun street football.
Last touchdown before mom calls you for dinner wins,
yes,
right?
Yes, exactly.
Dylan Fingerish, the sophomore place kicker for Capo Valley, booms it through, and we're tied at 7. 5-yard pass from Trey Kukik to Dane Benedict's. And those guys are both back next year. So if you're a Capo Valley fan, you got a lot to look forward to. Another look at it.
If you're an opposing team, don't play them.
I like, it's almost like they have a basketball philosophy because they're working both sides. They ran a couple of plays to the right. They ran a couple of plays to the left because you know what they're going to do. It's like that old UCLA post offense. But if you execute properly and move without the ball, it's hard to defend. And that's kind of what I look at when I look at Capo Valley. That's why they ring up 424 yards a game.
Well, yeah, I mean, we saw them, they were successful with a couple runs, which is going to draw that defense in. Then you can spread the guys out. because they're going to have to honor the run, and then you have a guy that just stands in the pocket and can pick you apart. I think North's going to have to blitz every single time, regardless of, and make it on your secondary. Those guys have to make stops.
7 of 14 so far for Trey Kukuk on the game. 61 yards through the air, including the 5-yard touchdown pass to Dane Benedicts. 7 apiece. Division 5 first-round playoff matchup. And the ball comes back to the Huskies and whistles on the kick and a flag on the play. Let's see what they're going to say. Marked off against Capo. Another 5-yard penalty. But there are two kinds of cool matchups in the playoffs, Jeff. I like the regional, intra-regional matchups where you get two teams that maybe are close together but don't play. And then I love stuff like this where it's South OC against the IE, two different styles of football just going up against each other, two very good teams. Here's the return from Preston. Preston cuts outside. Rohan Preston up to the 40-yard line, and then he's finally wrestled out. Making the tackle on the play was Owen Taylor out there on special teams. What a return, but there's a couple of flags on the play.
I didn't see any Huskies near. I'm wondering if let's see what they call.
Again, our white hat today is Jerry Troutman.
Come on, Troutman. What do we got?
Oh, wow. They called targeting on J-Dub.
Wow.
So they'll back that up. That's going to be, it's a 15-yard mark-off, but it in essence becomes a 30-yard penalty because Preston came out to over the 40-yard line. Let me tell you something. Rohan Preston looks like he is primed to play tonight. That senior who wants to...
Doesn't want to go home.
Yeah, he wants to get into some a playoff action and have a classic. Huskies from the 12. 1st and 10. Elliott splits out. Here's the option. Keeping it is Gamble. Gamble 30, 35 to midfield. Tackled in John W. North territory at about the 47-yard line. 41-yard run by Jaden Gamble. You know, we always talked about he's going to need to make a big play in a playoff game, Jeff. We did not think it would be with his feet, though.
It didn't, but look at him. He's looking around saying, hey, is anybody going to get me?
He said, hey, Trey Kukuk can run, so can I.
Gamble with a great run.
Ball to the 47-yard line of Capo Valley, in Capo Valley territory. North 1st and 10. Gamble back, and here come whistles. So false start this time against J-Dub. So 3 penalties so far on North for 25 yards, 4 penalties against Capo Valley for 20 yards. They've all been false starts. Now, I want to mention Capo Valley playing without a couple of key defensive players. Their second leading tackler, Juan Segura, who also led the team in sacks, a senior defensive end, unavailable tonight. And Caden Pasqua, their junior linebacker, 45 tackles and 2 sacks before his injury. He's been gone the last 3 weeks. So call it 1st and 15. Ball moves back to the J-Dub side of the field. Here's Mika Ele running on the left side. And this time they pull him down. Nice adjustment defensively. First guy in there for the defense for Capo Valley was Jack Larkin, the defensive end, hunting high and low. And he got some help up top from Luke Meyer.
Yeah, great job by those defensive ends really to make that a very tight hole for Mika Ele to go through.
2nd and 15 coming up. So how about this? We got Cameron Shannon, the backup quarterback, is in at wide receiver, split out to the near side. Jeremiah Calhoun split out to the far side. Far slot, Damon Ayala. Maybe a double pass coming up here with the backup QB in. Instead, they'll just give the ball up to the tailback. And ripping up the middle is Elliott. Elliott finally gets pulled down inside the 10. A touchdown saving tackle by Dane Benedicts. but a 43-yard run for Hassan Elliott gets inside the 10 of Capo Valley.
Holy smokes, what a great run by Elliott.
2 40-yard runs in the drive, one by the quarterback Gamble, one there by Hassan Elliott. They mark it to the 9-yard line. So first and goal. Calhoun to the bottom of your screen. Here's the give to Michele running right. Of course he's going to run right. Smashing, still holding up. Is he in? Touchdown! Touchdown, Huskies. Venancio Michele, 9-yard touchdown run. His second trip to pay dirt, 13-7 J-Dub.
I mean, as soon as he catches the ball, gets the ball in the handoff, you can tell, I want people to hit me. Nobody came, and he had to finally was hit at the goal line. But what a great play from Michele.
Here's the PAT coming. And that parks the uprights. It's 14-7. So 2 touchdown runs by Venancio Michele. Break this one down for me, Jeff.
I'll tell you what, they just says, we're going to get it to you. We're going to go right. We're going to run off the big boys. He anticipates action, gets none until the very last thing, but you can't stop him 4 yards in. He's going to churn like he is making butter going in for the touchdown.
TJ Tarasio is the big man on the right side for North. They've been running behind him all night tonight, and that seems to be the side Michele veers to whenever they call that run play. I have noticed, I have not seen Ashar Granger out there. Top wide receiver for J-Dub. We haven't seen him the first couple of series. Wondering if that's an injury situation.
I did see him running around pregame. Hopefully he's okay.
Fielded by Hopkins, weaves up to the 20 outside of the 25, and Hopkins punched out of bounds at about the 32-yard line. Mark Hopkins, injured over the spring. He had a big year this year for Capo Valley as a wide receiver. Started his career at Mission Viejo. 36 catches this year, averaging nearly 18 yards a catch and those 10 touchdowns. First and 10, Capo from the 32. And we had a couple of opportunities this week to chat with Sean Curtis, the head coach of Capistrano Valley. And you can tell, like, he's in his third year there, but he's going to get them going. He's got a great personality, and he's got a great passion for the game of football.
Yeah, he does. I mean, you could tell it was palpable watching his team in warm-ups. All the coaches seemed focused, organized, but just a great guy to talk to. A guy I'd love to hang out at the pub with and play probably trivia with him.
First and 10 from the 32. Taylor comes in motion. Here's the give to Cassidy right up the middle. This time Christian Wilson is there, and then down low, cleaning it up for John W. North, Sione Johnny Topo.
Part of the criminal defense team?
Litigation team, man. They'll litigate you into the poorhouse. Jaden Cassidy with a couple of yards on the play. 2nd and 8 coming up.
You know, everywhere I've gone this season, you know, being an RCC game, or if you and I haven't called a game, they go, hey, when are you calling a North game again? I want to hear about the law firm.
We're here to help these guys be successful later in life. Maybe none of them ever thought about being an attorney, but if it veers them that way, they'd be good attorneys too, I think. 2nd and 8 from the 34. Kukuk steps up. Kukuk's going to run with it. He's to midfield and more. Kukuk on his horse. Trying to bring him down is Payne, and Payne makes the tackle at the 5-yard line. 51-yard run for Trey Kukuk, and knocking on the door are the Cougars.
I'm a little shocked there was no spy on him. I mean, he had part of the entire sea. He was like Moses. He was parting that sea. There was no one near him.
So flipping the field is Trey Kukuk, and I told you, well, now he may have to add a 4th K to his name if he gets 200 yards tonight. He'll have 1,000 rushing yards.
That was pretty good, by the way. You noticed the 3K thing.
We're children of
impressive.
Y2K, right?
Yeah, we
you and
are.
I both. We're old enough to remember the Y2K. First and goal from the 5. This is Hopkins in motion. Cassidy right up the gut. Touchdown, Cougars. They found something. They found a wrinkle in the middle of the defense. They're running behind their center, Noah Johnson. Meyer is their best offensive lineman, also plays defense, but he's the left tackle. But they figured something out in the middle of the defense, Jeff.
Yeah, they have. I mean, that's where they had their bread and butter all night long. In fact, the first couple runs they had were right up off that center. Let's see if North can make an adjustment here. But wow, what a fun game so far.
It's almost like a basketball game. This is like a lot of points. We talked about, North PAT good off the foot of Dylan Fingerish. We talked about how North, they've only allowed 9 points a game on the season. If you take it back to the spring, the last 13 games, they're 13-0, have allowed just 8 plus. Like I think it's 8.2 points per game. The Capo Valley, man, not only can they score, that wasn't impressive. We've seen a lot of teams that can score a lot of points. They've scored against some really good teams. They've put up big points against some really good teams. Now, the flip side of that is their defense has given up a lot of points, and right now their defense is banged up. They're missing 2 starters, so you're going to be able to score points on them. But as we just saw, the Huskies come down, put a drive. They start at their own 12-yard line, 88-yard drive into the end zone. They come back, and it takes them about 90 seconds to make up the score on the other end. That's who you're playing when you're playing Capistrano Valley.
Yeah, it's like, when people talk about Aaron Rodgers, or Tom Brady, don't give him a minute, don't give him any time. And that could be a factor going on late in the game here if it's a close game.
Another flag comes in. Let's see what this one's going to be.
Speaking of Y2K, do you remember where you were on Y2K when the world was going to end?
I was in grad school, but I think I might have been at a party. Like I might have been home for Christmas, and I think I was at a party at my friend's house in Philadelphia. He had a New Year's Eve party.
I was sitting in my mother-in-law's house, and they all thought the world was going to end. And when it didn't end, I said, "Let's break out the popcorn." Nobody appreciated that.
But we'll get into it as the game progresses. You have some deep Capistrano Valley knowledge. You have some connections to Capo Valley.
A lot of. I mean, it came out of nowhere that you hear names and you go, "Wait a sec, I'm going to piece some names together." And we do have a couple good connections from Riverside. We'll talk about later on in the broadcast.
So there was a sideline warning. It wasn't a flag. A sideline warning is what Jerry Troutman tells us. And so we were back to action. Order restored.
I was wondering why the kicker, he was practicing. Every time he ran up, I thought he was kicking.
Hassan Elliott and Rohan Preston deep to return the kickoff. Fingerish, a sophomore, was the team MVP of the freshman team in the spring. Onside kick. And fielded at the 48-yard line. It'll be John W. North ball. Trying to see who picked it up for the Huskies. It was Mason McGill with the play, fielding it, and 1st and 10, J-Dub.
Good call, though. I mean, why not? You know you can score. Keep it close. Maybe you get a shot. Get the ball back here with 2 minutes left in the quarter.
They've played so many of these kinds of games, meaning Capo Valley. We're talking to Sean Curtis, their head coach, before the game, and he said, I think we've had our hands team on the field 8 times in 10 weeks. That's how many close games they played. Like 6 of their games, I got it here, 4 of their games have been decided by 1 score.
Holy cow.
And I think there were 2 by 3 points and 1 by 1 point.
It's like the L.A. Chargers last year.
From the 48, Jaden Gamble going to set up the screen to Elliott, incomplete. Nice pressure coming on the play for Capo Valley. Applying the pressure was Damian Berg. Kind of that linebacker, strong safety hybrid. He can come down on the box. He can slide to the edge. He can play in pass coverage. Very versatile player for Capo Valley defense. Jacob Van Every is their defensive coordinator. His 3rd year on the coordinator side, 8th year on the staff. He's a Capo Valley alum, class of 2012. Just the 2nd pass attempt by Gamble falls incomplete. Here's Elliott in motion. They'll give to Mikaele. He'll dive to midfield, and down he goes. Mikaele with 2 yards on the play. Tackle Jack Larkin for Capo Valley. So Mikaele now 5th carry, 32 yards and a couple of touchdowns. 3rd down coming up. clock moving. We're near the end of the first quarter here. 14 apiece. CIF Division 5 first-round matchup. Bunch formation to the bottom of your screen for John W. North. That's Shannon, Ayala, and Elliott. Jeremiah Calhoun split out to the top of your screen. We still have not seen a Shark Ranger tonight. Just inside midfield, third down. Mikaele up the middle. Then they collapse around him, and a nominal gain for Mikaele. Getting up from the bottom of the pile, Jackson Sievers with the tackle for Capo Valley, and fourth down coming up.
We talked about it. If Capo Valley is able to stop the run, that's going to put a lot of pressure on that North offense to really have to manufacture points.
And so swinging gate comes out, and it looks like it'll be Cameron Shannon running the quarterback position. So Shannon all alone. Mikaele is going to be the snapper. Fourth down. Call it 4th and 6. And then a whistle. Going to go against J-Dub.
That's going to bring out the punt team now.
So fourth penalty on John W. North. They've been penalized for 30 yards. And Juan Moreno will be out to punt it away. Owen Taylor is the returner for Capo Valley. He's back deep, standing at the 22-yard line of the Cougars. Tyjon Payne runs back out there. Second punt on the evening. And a timeout called by Sean Curtis in Capistrano Valley. And thank you guys for joining us tonight. CIF playoff action, Division 5 first rounder. It is the 7-10 matchup. So the winner of this takes on the winner of Oaks Christian Oxnard Pacifica, as we look right there. Oaks far side of the bracket on Division 5. J-Dub is the number 7 seed. Oaks Christian the number 2 seed.
Didn't Oaks Christian have some, was it Joe Montana's son play there?
I think so, yeah. They had a bunch of celebrities. I think Gretzky's kid played there.
That's right.
Yeah.
He was a high sticker, though.
He was a high sticker. Okay. Fair enough. But, I mean, look at Division 5. I mean, that is a gauntlet. You got Summit there. How about our buddy at Beaumont, our old buddy Jeff Steinberg? How about our old buddy Eric Galliano at San Jacinto? A lot of inland representation in Division 5.
But they're playing each other.
I
I
know.
want them to play someone else. Play Elmo.
In the words of the late Kevin Meaney, that's not right.
It's not right.
Split them up. That's not right. All right. Here's Juan Moreno. And that's a fake. First down and more for J-Dub. Asan Elliott, the first down to the 30. A little trickeration from Opie Vaipulu. You don't expect it from him, but we'll get a look at it again. The direct snap to Elliott. The snap was low, and a nice block there. Look who's blocking. Sione Tupou with the block. And a 17-yard pickup for Asan Elliott. And it's a first down for J-Dub.
What a great play. Almost messed up, like you said, a low snap. But Elliott, phone home. Go all the way, buddy.
So they mark it to the 31. That's the end of the first quarter. 14 apiece. And how about this? Hey, playoff Friday. Would you rather be anywhere else? 14-14. I got a feeling we're not done, Jeff, in terms of the scoring.
Heck no, I love this. I want to see it. I want to see a basketball score. I want to see it in 60s each. This is fun football. And why not first round of the playoffs?
The most points scored against John W. North this year was 22 against Paloma Valley. That was back on October 8th. Rancho Verde put up 20 on Thursday last week in the finale, the Sun Belt finale. I was talking to Opie Vaipulu this week, and I said, hey, you think the fact that you guys played Rancho, and obviously I'm not saying that Rancho is anywhere near as good as Capo, but just style-wise, a speed team that tries to get outside and throws the ball a little bit, I think that helps you out a little bit. Because, Rancho, they got almost 400 yards last Thursday.
They did, yeah.
First and 10 from the 31. Gamble, the lefty, throws to Mikaele, who can't come up with it. Juggles it and drops it incomplete. And we like that play. We saw that play in week 2 against Notre Dame, the screen pass to Mikaele. I thought that could be a weapon for them.
You put Mikaele in open space.
Yeah. Especially you get a little bit of misdirection or a delay. Second and 10 from the 31 of Capistrano Valley. We're tied at 14, just underway here in the second quarter. Gamble with the option. And Gamble gets decleated as he gets inside the 25 to about the 22-yard line. Jack Culver on the tackle, and a flag comes in, though. That'll all come back. It'll be a hold on J-Dub. Their 5th penalty on the evening already. They've been penalized for 40 yards. So look at Gamble there, and coming up, Culver, a gritty guy, described by his coach. He said he's one of those gritty guys. 18 tackles on the year. You've got an interception and had 11 solo tackles in the spring. But he's also a hockey player. So,
What?
Yeah.
He's a hockey player. Who plays hockey in Southern California?
Jack Culver. Remember Orange County, right? Because they're in with the Ducks down there.
Oh, yeah, they've got all kinds of ice rinks.
The Ducks do a good job with their youth program. That's what I was saying.
I'm a figure skater, my friend.
From the 40. They'll fling it out to Elliott, and Elliott immediately gets taken down. Again, that man there again, Jack Culver. So Culver locked in on Elliott, and just a nominal gain on the play, maybe a yard on the completion.
Have you ever ice skated?
Yeah, I used to ice skate all the time. It's
You
just
did?
a great workout. Yeah, back when I was in the summers between college, you'd go home, and there was a friend of mine worked at a rink.
Really?
And he said, but when I started, I didn't know how to skate, and I would just go visit him, and he would insist I get out on the ice, and I learned how to skate. I taught myself to skate.
I think you and I should go to Ice Town down here, and we can.
Oh, that's right. We can do it here, right? In
You and I,
Riverside.
let's go ice skating. We can partner skate or all skate.
3rd and 19. Gamble under pressure. There's the screen to Mikaele, rumbling and leaping. Meyer pushed him out. We'll see where he pushed him out. I think he might have gotten all that penalty yardage back. It'll still be a 4th and 10.
I told you, he likes to hurdle guys. That was a 2-footed broad jump, though. We have a score.
So he'll get back to the original line of scrimmage, a 9-yard pickup on that swing pass.
In the second quarter, Novi up 7-0 over Monrovia.
How about that? So 4th and 10, they're going to go for it. Calhoun split out to the top of your screen. In the far slot is Hassan Elliott. Damian Ayala in the near slot. Cameron Shannon split out to the bottom of your screen. The lefty Gamble lines it up, slings it down the field. He's got Ayala. Touchdown, Huskies. Damian Ayala is the omen for Capistrano Valley. The 4th down touchdown pass, and the Huskies have the lead.
Oh, what a great play, great pass.
We saw Ayala kind of break out. Oh, they're going to call it back. It's a penalty on the play.
Oh. The Boo Birds are out.
So all coming back, and North will go and have to punt it. God, it's a 15-yarder. So a mistake by North takes a touchdown off the board. And Moreno with the punt. Waving everybody off is Benedicts. He's going to let it bounce inside the 20. It'll roll dead at about the 18-yard line. 27-yard kick from Juan Moreno. No return. And 1st and 10 for Capo Valley. So wipe the touchdown off the board, folks. And Capo Valley football. And kudos to the defense for the Cougars holding up there. They gave up a fake punt for a 1st down, but they were able to turn North back.
Yeah, I mean, just luck of the draw, man. North, you can't be happy with that. You make a great play, you can't be penalized 15 yards. We've talked about that throughout the entire season with teams. You have to be disciplined. You have to play smart football, or something like that will happen.
But what does every coach tell us, though? Every coach tells us, hey, we want to avoid mistakes, right? That's what every coach tells us. Line of scrimmage, the 18 for Capo Valley. Trey Kukuk back out there running his offense. The captain of the mothership throws to the near side for Benedicts, and all over him is Tajon Payne, and it's incomplete. 2nd and 10 coming up.
Great D by Payne there. See if Capital Valley goes up the middle, where they were so successful in that first quarter.
So 2nd and 10 from the 18 for the Cougars. We're all knotted at 14. Watch Paella standing up on the left side. Here comes Paella, and Kukuk can't get away from him. Walingi Paella gets the sack back to the 5-yard line. They knew he was coming. I mean, you had to tell. We all knew he was coming.
Man, he's so quick.
Coming out of the elephant position, and then Hopkins goes into motion. Normally you'd have somebody there to chip him, but obviously no tight end in this offense, and he just got there quickly. Bada bing, bada bang. And also in there was Devin Toki for John W. North, but Paella paying a dividend immediately. They'll mark it back to the 8-yard line, so a loss of 10 on the play. 3rd down. Kukuk back to throw, steps up, lofts it down to Benedicts, one-on-one with Preston, falls incomplete, and 4th down. No flags so far. So crosstown Ramona in the red zone in their first round game against Valley Christian. No score there, but Ramona 3rd down inside the 20, trying to get the first score. So the North defense stands up. Hassan Elliott waits at the 44-yard line. There comes the short kick. He'll take a Capital Valley bounce, and it'll roll dead on the north side of the field. It'll be on the north 48-yard line. So a 32-yard kick from Gavin Thompson, no return, but good field position for the Huskies.
Yeah, great field position. And it started off as a really poor kick, got a good bounce there for Capital Valley, or it would have been a lot easier, or a lot closer, I should say, for the Huskies.
First quarter has come to an end in Ramona, Jeff, and they're tied scoreless. Ram High and Valley Christian. You said Novi was up?
Up 7-0 in the second. Should be 21-0, I was told by Ron Main, the AD at Norte Vista.
1st and 10 for North from the 49. Calhoun to the top of your screen. There's the give to Mikaele.
Ball's on the floor.
Ball's loose. And where's the signal? Capital Valley football. Turnover. Capital Valley football. The recovery for Capital Valley. Wyatt Schultz is going to look at it. Meyer there. The ball's already out, though, when he throws Mikaele down, and the first turnover.
Just lost it there.
Never got a handle on it.
No.
There was Schultz jumping on it. So a turnover at 9:29 of the second quarter near midfield. I wonder if Sean Curtis will go up top here. From midfield, he'll fling it out to Benedicts. Benedict's doing a little bit of a toe tap, about a 5-yard pickup on the play. Tackle by Devin Toki. And give him about 6 on the play. So Benedict's with his 5th catch. 50 yards on the evening. Second and 4 coming up. Fake to Cassidy. They'll fling it out to Taylor. Deflected off of him. Incomplete. Preston was close, but he was locked in on Owen Taylor. If he'd played the bounce, he could have had himself a pick 6, but he's rolling up from the safety spot. So it wasn't like he was manned up there. 3rd and 4.
little frustration kicking in here for North.
They definitely jumped. The only question was, were they drawn?
Let's see. There's the movement. Let's see who they call it against. They call it against North.
Already 7 penalties in the first half against J-Dub. That'll be a first down. Sticks move up for Capo Valley. You know, I asked Sean Curtis what his influences were offensively and learn a little bit about the offense, how you design it. 1st and 10 coming up from the J-Dub 39 for Capo Valley. This is Mark Hopkins in motion. Over the middle, in and out of the hands of Benedict's right there looming. Tupou potentially to make the interception, incomplete, 2nd down coming up. So we cited a few people. You know, obviously his father, Rick Curtis, was a longtime assistant under Terry Hennigan at Irvine. He also coached at University, Northwood, Santa Margarita, coached at Capo Valley Christian, and most recently at Crean Lutheran. So, you know, his dad is an influence on him as a coach. 2nd and 10 coming up from the 39. The give to Cassidy right up the middle, and they shut him down. Cassidy with about 2 yards on the play. Coming over the top, Leo Tupou making the tackle on the play. 3rd down coming up. Another gentleman he worked for when he was at J. Sarah, Jim Hardigan.
Oh.
Hardigan, a big name in Southern California football. Also, he says, you know, we run a lot of the Mike Leach stuff. He had a player who played up at Washington State and said, hey, a lot of the stuff you do conceptually is very similar to what Leach does, so kind of that air raid concept. 3rd down and 9 from the 38 coming up. Kukuk's going to dump it off, complete to Hopkins, but right there to make the tackle, Leo Tupou, and it'll be 4th down coming up. So he's completed some balls, has Kukuk, but they made him work for it. He's kind of dinking and dunking that West Coast stuff, and very sure in the tackling have been the Huskies at J-Dub, and they're going to go for it. It's a 4th and about 6. They need to get inside the 30 to the 29. Paella looks like he may have encroached, and that's the initial indication we're getting from the officials that it's against J-Dub. So that would make it about a 4th and 3.
You got actually a 14-0 lead now. I just heard from Ron Main. Eddie Elaine with 2 long scores.
So the Elaine train is running after hours here tonight, huh? So 4th and 4 coming up after the 5-yard mark off against J-Dub. Kukuk looking outside. He'll fling it, complete to Benedict's, 1st down. And Benedict's flung down at about the 26-yard line, making the tackle on the play, Devin Toki.
And add 15 yards to this, or half the distance. Let's see, it's going to be a late tackle.
Oh, there it is. That's the foul. That's going to they're going to call that every time. It's another 15 yards. 9th penalty already on John W. North. Nine penalties for 80 yards in the first half and the turnover here. And that's, you know, you're a home team. You don't want to give those opportunities. Capo Valley is a darn good team on their own. You don't need to be helping them.
No, you especially putting them in the red zone can't be good if you are North. You cannot be happy with those fouls.
Let's see what Jerry Troutman has to say. If your name's Jerry Troutman, you're pretty much – football official is a pretty good job because you're not going to be an action hero.
No.
Jeff Speakman tried that. Didn't quite work out for him. Although I love Street Night, by the way.
Hey, I met Jeff Speakman. I did. Recently.
Good look at Sean Curtis, 2nd-generation coach. His father, Rick Curtis, a longtime head coach in the Irvine School District. Under Terry Hennigan, that had his own situation at Northwood High. So it's half the distance, Jeff. You are correct. We'll go to the 13-yard line. It'll be a 1st and 10. Sean Curtis reminds me a lot of Travis Carter of Hillcrest. They have a similar vibes.
Yeah, both cool guys. They, like I said, they'd be buddies with us.
Interesting story, too. His story was, you know, when he got out of college, he was working a a financial services job when he was managing East Coast accounts. So his hours were 5:30 to 2:30. So he would leave work at 2:30 and go help his dad at spring practice coach, and he kind of got the bug. And then a few years later, Rick Curtis got the job, I think in 2011, at Santa Margarita, and he was at the first opportunity that Coach Curtis had to work full-time, and he said, then I realized it wasn't just about X's and O's and wins and losses, it was about the relationships. And that's kind of what brought him over, and he's been a full-time coach ever since. Taylor in motion, Kukuk to throw. Here comes some pressure. He'll dump it off. Nice job by Taylor finding some space, and he'll get about 4 yards to the 9-yard line. A lot of real estate expended on that for not a whole lot of gain, but they keep the clock moving, and they log another completion. He's just so easy. His motion is so easy when he throws it. There's Preston and Payne with the tackle. Second down coming up. And that'll be a false start. The 5th penalties on Capo, they've all been false starts or illegal procedure.
That's right.
4 from scrimmage and 1 on a kickoff. So move it back to the 13-yard line. Second down coming up. Hopkins in the far slot. Taylor split out to the top of your screen. Benedict's in the near slot. He's the one you want to watch, and a timeout on the play. Now, one of the families that you're very close with, and I know a little bit about him because I'm an Irvine alum, and Bill Mulligan for many years was the head basketball coach at UC Irvine. His son Brian, who played at Irvine, longtime basketball coach at Capistrano Valley. I know you know the family very well.
They're one of the closest families, I think, growing up. I was very close to the Mulligan family. In fact, I probably should have gone to Irvine and played for Bill. But his younger son, Billy Mulligan, who was the editor of the newspaper at RCC, he had cerebral palsy, and he had a nurse 24 hours a day, and for all the UC Irvine home games, I would go pick up Billy and drive him down to watch his dad play, and I got to sit on the bench with UC Irvine with the son Bill. And I know Brian. Brian's a wonderful coach, has done been at Capo Valley for years, won a lot of CIF championships, but I think one of the greatest Riverside families.
So Coach Mulligan was living in Riverside when he was coaching in Irvine?
No. His son had a home here.
Oh, okay.
And he lived over here on the Wood Streets. I'd go pick up little Billy.
Bill Mulligan was the head coach at RCC too, right?
He was.
He went from RCC, I think, to Saddleback to UCI.
Yes, he did. He coached some great players. Kevin McGee, one of my all-time favorites.
Great Kevin McGee. Oh yeah.
But the Mulligan family has always been kind to the Gorham family, so give a little shout out to Brian and his brother Billy Jr.
I mean, 2 of my favorite guys came through that Capo Valley basketball program. Lior Schwartzberg, who's now the head coach over at Valley Tura, and then Ryan Battertelli, who's an assistant at UC Irvine, was a Capo Valley guy. Both two really good people. Hopkins in motion. Kukuk to throw, and it closes up for him a little bit. Gets away from the first pursuit, still on his feet. Here comes more pressure. Kukuk rolling right. He buys time, throws into the end zone. Touchdown. Incomplete. No, incomplete. Couldn't get it.
Holy smokes. Slippery.
Kind of a blind spot for us here in the corner. Let's watch. Just watching him. This is some Aaron Rodgers stuff here. Just eluding the rush, making everybody miss.
Still on his feet.
That's where I thought they should have nailed. They should have brought him down, but he's still working. And now just got a man down the field. Just couldn't hold on to it. Incomplete. Third down. This time a touchdown to Benedicts. Just floated it over the middle, and the catch by Dane Benedicts, his second touchdown reception on the evening. This one good for 13 yards and the lead to the Cougars.
I'll tell you what, North has to be kicking themselves. After that penalty, really kind of gave the momentum to Capo here.
Well, it's like you turn the ball over and then you stop them and then you get the penalty, and that hurts. So Kukuk has now thrown 2 touchdowns. And it's 21-14 as Fingerish pumps it through. Let's get a look at the touchdown pass. Just lobbed it over the top. That was a perfect timing route. Kukuk takes a step, sees his man open, just delivers the football. One-on-one, and Benedicts goes up and gets it. Sean Curtis talks about Dane Benedicts, and he says, man, he is one of the most recruitable players on this team, and says, hey, he's a great defensive player, but he said he may be one of the best receivers I've ever seen, and Curtis has coached at some places with some very prolific offenses.
Yeah, I mean, that's high praise for a young man. We have a halftime score. Norte Vista up 13-7 at half.
It's going to be a tight one. Monrovia 10-0, undefeated, almost in that game.
Everybody's picking them to win it.
Not everybody. One guy picked them to win it. Come on, Jeff.
Yeah, but we have to make it sound better. But I think Novi's going to win. Temecula Valley's up 17-6.
Setting up that second round potential matchup with Novi and Temecula Valley. You got to get those coaches in a shooting match. If it's Esposito and Batdorf, I want them talking trash. I want you to instigate.
Oh, they will too. That's the beauty of both those guys. Is Bert will talk smack to anyone. So will Ken. We'll get them on the coach's perspective at the same time.
Get them live. It'll be like that Ali Frazier press conference.
It'll be lots of beeps or silence. We'll be saying a lot of colorful metaphors we can't use on Riverside TV.
So 2 straight scores for Capo Valley. They've taken the lead here against John W. North. Capo Valley, we talked about, they're a team that's played well from behind this year. North really hasn't had to play from behind at all. But the turnover really turned the course of this game, and it looks like it's turned the momentum of the game. Now, the plus, if you're J-Dub, is if you can put the ball in the end zone here, you get the ball to start the second half.
You do, but, you can't give them too much time.
Nope.
Use 6:26 of this quarter, all of it if you can, to score and then get the ball back, because we saw what he did in 90 seconds earlier.
Yeah.
This could be a problem for J-Dub.
Now, they were running right. They're running behind T.J. Tarasio. He's the right tackle for J-Dub, and they were having success. They adjusted to the middle. Now, I'm guessing they adjusted against an adjustment the defense made for Capo. They haven't had as much success running in the middle of the field except when it's been the quarterback.
Exactly.
From the 21st and 10. Gamble to throw. Gets it out of his hands quickly. And that's our first look at Ashar Granger. Granger with about 7 yards on the play.
Great receiver. Dad Desmond played here at John W. North, great basketball player. Good friend.
So curious as to why he didn't start. Maybe it's some internal issue. But in any event, Granger up to the 28-yard line. 8-yard pickup on the play. Second and short. Michaeli up the middle. Michaeli to the second level. Lowers his shoulder and brought down at the 39-yard line. Making the tackle for Capo Valley, Colby Hauser. And Hauser's been Mr. Everything for Capo Valley. He's moved around and played a lot of different spots for his defensive coordinator, Jacob Van Every.
And a great way to tackle Michaeli. Get slower than him and just lay down like a log.
Well, I mean, people, you joke about it, but that's tough. His center of gravity very low to the ground. And I remember that's something that back in the day, Emmitt Smith, they always talked about. That's why he was hard to bring down. He wasn't a big guy, but he had a low center of gravity. And the sack. Jack Larkin makes a big play for Capo Valley, pushes North all the way back to the 26-yard line, a 13-yard loss, second and 23 coming up.
Now, was he outside of the tackle box?
So here comes, he just looked up and somebody was supposed to chip Larkin and nobody did, and all of a sudden Jaden Gamble looks up and there's big number 6 bearing down on him. So they say call it the 27 officially. They need to get to the 49 for a first down, so it's second and 22. Gamble throwing. Incomplete. Intended for Ayala. Big hit on the play by the freshman, Riley Walker. Check that instead. That was Damian Berg. Damian Berg, 23, not 33. Gamble surveying the field, and there's Ayala and there's Berg. To quote the UFC play-by-play man, Pete Arbogast, how do you do? 3rd and 22 coming up. I know Pete through a organization that we're both part of, and he's a character, let me tell you. 3rd and 22. Gamble the lefty, sizing it up. Meyer coming behind him. He'll loft it downfield. He's got a man. It's complete to Jeremiah Calhoun. Calhoun swims inside the 30 and brought down inside the 20-yard line. A big pickup for J-Dub as they flip the field. 49-yard strike from Jaden Gamble to Jeremiah Calhoun.
Wow, what a great play. And on 3rd and 22 to make that call. Wide open Calhoun.
Second reception of the game for Calhoun. He's got 62 yards on 2 catches. How about him stepping up, the senior basketball player in a big spot? You know, he's seen his share of big games for Mike Barty. 1st and 10 from the 20. Option. Gamble keeps it. Gamble dancing outside. He's going to go mano-a-mano with Benedicts and flipped out of bounds. Mark that to the 17, so give him 3. 2nd and 7 coming up. How about the story Sean Curtis told us in that wacky game against Trabuco late in the game? He instructed his defense to let them score so they get the ball back.
Yeah, that's right.
How about that? Those are the conspiracies you hear. You never know if they're true or not. And he was just so open with that. I loved it. I loved it. That's winning playoff football. And they won the game, so maybe he can talk about it. If they lost the game, probably wouldn't have told us. Gamble with time, looking downfield. Incomplete. Calhoun one-on-one coverage with Maddox Bliss, and here comes the flag.
I think that's a pretty good call. I know Calhoun's yelling at the back judge, but it was the line judge that actually threw the flag. I think it's a good call. Over half the distance.
So the ball go about to the inside the 10. It'll go to about the 8.5-yard line. And that is the first penalty on Capital that has not been a false start. So 6 penalties so far for the Cougars for 40 yards. J-Dub has been penalized 9 times for 80 yards. So 1st and goal coming up from just inside the 10. Throw for Ayala, in and out of his hands, nearly picked off. That was Jack Culver again on the carom trying to make the play for Capo. 2nd and goal.
Yeah, that would have been pay dirt for Culver.
That's pick 6 waiting there. And I'll tell you, after the penalty on the 4th down touchdown throw to Ayala was wiped away from a penalty, the momentum kind of slipped a little bit, even though they stopped Capo the first time, the turnover and then the score. Under 3 minutes to play in the first half. It's 21-14 Cougars. Ball on the turf, but Gamble picks it up. Running inside, gets to about the 6th, and it's starting to be pushed back. They'll give him the forward progress to the 6-yard line. It'll be 3rd down. And again, you can't make mistakes, particularly in the red zone like this in a playoff game.
I think they were going to try to go direct snap to Mekaele.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And it would look like it was dropped.
So call it the 7. 3rd and goal from the 7. Granger to the near side. Calhoun to the top of your screen. In the far slot, Damian Ayala for J-Dub. Option right. Handoff to Elliott, cutting back inside. Touchdown, Huskies. Hassan Elliott, 7-yard touchdown run. Running behind the right side of that line, the big fella, TJ Tarasio, along with Arthur Marquez, clearing some space.
If you're north, do you go for 2 because you're getting the ball back here in the second half?
No, you kick it. I think you kick it.
Yeah. Gotta tie it up. Got to get points. We always say that.
Lara pumps it through. It's 21 apiece. Now, my theory is you don't go for 2 unless something unforeseen happens or unless you see something
Yes.
or unless you're behind. And I think I've seen so many teams play themselves out of games because when you have 2/3 of the game left, you don't know how many other teams going to
Yeah.
score. As we get a look at Hassan Elliott on the touchdown.
Well, he's been magnificent tonight.
So the big play to Calhoun, and now a nice play. Look at Tarasio sealing off there. He just cuts right inside, and the coup de grace at the end, Arthur Marquez with a little hello. Big boys up front. That's been a key. We talk about the linebackers, which is true, but how about those big boys up front for J-Dub? Castro, Vargas, Tarasio, Marquez, Ramirez, and Paella, who's been rotating in.
Oh, they've been phenomenal all season long. I mean, they are the guys that are getting the glory guys, the actors. They get all the glory, but the big guys should get a lot of it.
Hopkins from the 11. Hopkins over the 20 to about the 25. Down he goes. Surprise, surprise, Rohan Preston with the tackle. I'll tell you, the greatest defensive player, and I'm showing my age here a little bit, Jeff, the greatest defensive player I've ever seen play in level football was Lawrence Taylor.
Yes,
when I was a kid,
I agree.
he was just running things, and I'm not old enough to have seen Deacon Jones. People always talk about Deacon Jones. They say Deacon was just like LT. But the second one, that's a little bit more of a debate, and for me, it's the great Ed Reed. And I'm not saying he's as good as Ed Reed, but the style of play, Rohan Preston reminds me a lot of Ed Reed with those great Baltimore
I
Ravens
like that.
teams.
That's
Yeah.
good comparison.
Yeah, and everybody says Ronnie Lott, but I kind of didn't really see Lott at his peak. I did see Reed at his peak. 1st and 10 from the 25. Hopkins in motion. Throw to the outside, it's complete. Up to the 18-yard line. Cassidy on the route out of the backfield. So about 3 yards on the completion.
I hear that correctly? Ramona High School up 21-0 at half?
Cassidy with his first reception.
Oh, 5 minutes left in the second. Up 20.
They opened it up. Coach Mush. Kukuk being chased by DeCastro. He'll fling the ball down the field, just throw it away. Benedict was about a midfield, and there was a man on him, so incomplete. 3rd down and 7 coming up, just burning the down.
I think it's going to be. I think he was past the line of scrimmage when he threw that pass.
You think?
I think so. I think it's going to go against Capital Valley. It's the first time I've seen that called all season long.
So Troutman down with his officials. They're talking about it. Jerry Troutman, our white hat tonight. And actually, yeah, they're looking at where the line of scrimmage would have been. Where did he throw it from?
It sure looked like he was over it when I.
Wow, good observation, Jeff Gorham. Illegal forward pass. So they're going to lose the down. Well, they would have lost the down anyway, but it'll be a penalty and a loss of down.
Yeah.
So the ball back, what is that, a 10-yard? It's a 10-yarder.
Yeah, he looked like he was about a yard over the line of scrimmage.
So they're going to mark it back to the 25-yard line. So it'll be a 3rd down and 10. 35 for the first down. So watch Benedict's. He's on the bottom of your screen closest to the quarterback. Right next to him is Hopkins. Top of your screen is Taylor. It looked like they were looking for Taylor. Somebody went out when they were supposed to come in, and 4th down as it falls incomplete.
Somebody ran the wrong route.
Or maybe he just had to get rid of it. No, that's who he was looking for. He kind of maybe airmailed it a little bit, incomplete, and then Gavin Thompson on to kick. So Thompson, is Brian Mulligan still the head coach?
He is.
So Brian Mulligan will coach Gavin Thompson. The next time you see Coach Mulligan, ask him about Gavin Thompson, the basketball guy. 4th down from the 25. Capital Valley will punt, another low snap. Hassan Elliott will catch the ball at the 47-yard line. Trying to break free. Gets to the outside. 40, 35. He's got a convoy. Can he get tackled? And yeah, it's the punter himself that makes the play. So a 28-yard kick, and we'll get another look at it. He breaks that first line. Nice block there by Tupou. And And once he breaks away, he's got open field all the way down to inside the 20-yard line. And Hassan Elliott picking him up and putting him down. His own player almost slowed him down. And then Gavin Thompson gives his life for the playoffs there. Nice team play. All the way to the 13-yard line. So a 39-yard return by Hassan Elliott on the punt.
And Riverside Poly now on front, 14-6. Arlington down 13-10.
Elliott veering to the outside. He's in, but a flag. So touchdown Elliott, but let's hold on and see what the flag's all about. Jerry Troutman threw it fairly decisively.
That's going to be a hold.
So the 10th penalty on the Huskies. 10 penalties on J-Dub for 90 yards. Obviously from our angle, we can't really see where the hold was. Donacio lifting his hands up like he's a basketball player and indicating that he didn't touch the ball, but the penalty will bring the ball back to about the 20-yard line. So they can still get a first down at the 3, can the Huskies? 21 apiece, under a minute to play in the first half. Clock is a factor. The Huskies, I believe, have all 3 of their timeouts, though. Ayala makes the catch. He's got some space. Damian Ayala to the house. Touchdown, Huskies. They say he was down? They're going to say he was down, Jeff. Let's get another look at it. Just find him in the flat. Let's see. Now, again, we have a little bit of a blind spot to the pylon. I thought he got there.
I thought
the
so,
replay
too.
says he got there, but we don't know where his knee went down. If his knee went down on the field, that's probably what the official was looking at. That means he's down.
Or he stepped out of bounds maybe with his left foot. That might have been it. Because they stopped him down at the...
Poor Damian Ayala. He had 2 touchdowns taken away from him, but that one they won't be able to take away. Touchdown Huskies. Venancio Micaele takes it in. So with 43 seconds left, Micaele crosses the goal line, and the Huskies break out on top 27-21. Remember, they're going to get the ball to start the second half.
It's great news for the Huskies. If they can keep that momentum going here.
PAT is up, and it's good. 28-21. .105 left in the second quarter. Crosstown, Jeff, your alma mater indeed up 21-0.
Coach Mush.
So the offense doing a good job on the Ramona side. Both offenses clicking here, 49 points on the board here in the first half. And you knew it was going to be, we said it, this is not your typical first-round opponent. Capital Valley, no joke. They can score. They can roll out of bed and put the ball into the end zone.
They sure can. Man, we're having ourselves a shootout here. Riverside Poly up 14-6 as well in Riverside.
So the Riverside team's doing quite well. We saw Novi up at halftime. So you guys are going to have a bevy of games to choose from next week.
Arlington down 13-10 in the
Hopkins
second quarter.
from the 9. Veering to the outside. Hopkins got some space. Out of bounds at about the 40-yard line. So a nice return for Mark Hopkins. A good field position. Now, 34 seconds, 60 yards. Normally, you're okay with that. But with this team?
No, you are not. We could have a score in the 50s. Both teams. I love it.
Kyle Felter split out to the near side. 2-by-2 for Capo Valley. Kukuk back to throw. Slings it to the outside. looking for Hopkins, overthrown, incomplete. That's unofficially. I have him for 26 attempts here in the first half, Jeff Gorham.
He had 61 in that game where he had 600 yards. 61 attempts.
Like a good shooter. What do they say about shooter? I mean, you were a shooter. You just keep shooting, right?
Shoot.
What was the most attempts you ever had in a game for Ramona High?
Oh, I don't know. I'm sure it was more than everyone on my team, though.
But then again, they only play 32 minutes in high school, so maybe that's not fair. 2nd and 10 from the 40. Kuguk looking downfield. And in and out of the hands of Elijah Hughes. Owen Taylor was the intended receiver. Hughes helping over top, trying to make the over-the-shoulder catch. Couldn't quite reel it in. Hughes, who started his career at Notre Dame High, now back at John W. North. Actually started at North, went to Notre Dame, played, I think it was in Utah for a year. But now he's back at John W. North.
His brother played at Norte Vista. His dad was an assistant coach under Ken Batdorf.
From the 40, a 3rd down. 3rd and 10 for Capital Valley. Co-champs of the Seaview League. And a timeout on the field. I believe that's the last timeout for Sean Curtis in Capital Valley. And it's been interesting. The 2 leagues that Capital Valley's been in, they've been in the Seaview and they've been in the South Coast. And back in the day, the South Coast League, Jeff, was no joke.
Oh, that was the
Capital Valley, Mission Viejo, was Dana Hills was in there, Trabuco Hills was in there, San Clemente, and Mater Dei.
That's right.
And then Mater Dei got bumped out and they brought El Toro in. So that's always been a high level of football down there in South Orange County. We get a look at the Capital Valley Huddle. They have won 2 CIF championships. 1980, they won 11-0. That game was played at Anaheim Stadium over Esperanza under Coach Dick Enright. And then in 1990, with seconds to play, they won 17-15 at the Santa Ana Bowl. Tomek Mickler kicked a field goal with 18 seconds to play. They knocked off Paramount. Paramount was going for their 3rd straight title.
Now, was this during any of these during the Todd Marinovich years?
I think Marinovich might have been on that 90 team, right? Or maybe he was gone by then.
He might have been gone.
3rd and 10.
He's been gone a long time.
Kukuk looking. Now he'll run, trying to get out of bounds. Crosses into the North Territory, out of bounds at about the 43. Was being pursued by Johnny Tupou and gives himself time for maybe a couple of plays. So mark him officially at the 45-yard line of J-Dub. So a 15-yard pickup for Kukuk. You can see why he's their leading rusher. He already has a 51-yard run today. Kukuk 58 yards on the ground. Felter in motion. First down throw. Complete to Jaden Cassidy. And Cassidy out of bounds at the 38-yard line. 6 seconds to go. So what do you think here? Do you go to the field goal route or do you go to the Hail Mary route?
Go the Hail Mary route.
Now, if Ricardo Chavez was in the stadium,
You
could line him up for a 55-yarder.
Get to see him again tomorrow night. They play RCC Cerritos, be here on Riverside TV.
And I know RCC had a little bit of a rough go, but they picked themselves up. They're playing pretty well right now.
6-2.
Here we go. 2nd down from the J-Dub 37. Kukuk. Here comes Paella. He escapes, does the quarterback. Wilson there. He's going to fling it downfield one-on-one in the end zone, and it'll fall incomplete. Intended receiver was Mark Hopkins. Hughes was there, along with Andre Lindsay for J-Dub, and that's how the first half will end. Home team up 28-21. Give me your thoughts, Jeff Gorham.
I'll tell you what, both teams just keep playing. Do what you do. You know, Capital Valley, great offensive force. Throw the football. If you're JW North, keep playing that man-to-man defense and give it to your runners, because I'll tell you what, they are fantastic so far on the ground and in the air. We've seen Gamble do his thing. We've seen Mecca Ale do his thing. We've seen Elliott do his thing. Pretty good half from the Huskies.
60 yards on the ground, 77 through the air for Kukuk in the first half. But how about Jaden Gamble? We talked about it before the season. 98 yards through the air, 47 on the ground for Gamble. Mikaele with 45 yards on 7 carries and a couple of touchdowns. So Jaden Gamble, we talked about it. Hey, he's going to need to win a playoff game. He has stepped up tonight. He's matching Kukuk yard for yard and throw for throw, and the Huskies on top here at the half, 28-21. We'll step out, and Jeff and I will be back to bring the second half for you. Thanks for watching. It's the CIF on Riverside TV, Division 5 first-round matchup, the Huskies and the Cougars.
Engine 1 AMR, respond with RPD for a traffic accident with injuries. In 1234 Main, cross of Columbia, 2 vehicles involved.
Each year, the Riverside City Fire Department responds to 40,000 emergency calls.
431.
And the men and women of the Riverside Police Department drive Code 3 every day.
We need your help so you know what to do when you see emergency vehicles.
Pull to the right.
Pull to the right.
Pull to the right. So help us help you.
We need you to pull to the right.
The Riverside County Transportation Commission has partnered with California Operation Lifesaver to educate Riverside County residents about how to be safe around trains and railroad tracks. Here are 3 safety facts you need to know. First, trespassing on train tracks is not only dangerous and can lead to serious injury, it is also illegal. Second, you may not always be able to hear a train coming, which is why it's important to always stay off and away from tracks. And finally, it can take a train up to a mile to come to a complete stop. If an object or person is on the tracks and the train can't stop in time, unfortunately, a collision may occur. Now that you're the expert, you can help us spread the word by sharing these important safety messages with your friends and family. We thank you for practicing rail safety.
We are proud of the Riverside Police Department's tradition of integrity, service, and excellence. RPD officers are disciplined, well-trained professionals who always lean forward to make our community safer and more livable. We are always looking for mature, educated men and women who want to apply their courage and judgment to serve the people of Riverside. If that's who you are, we want to talk to you.
My name is Melissa Olmos, and I'm a driver operator in the Department of Refuse for the City of Riverside, and I've been doing this for 4 months already. I really enjoy it because this job is not like a routine, so every day is different. So I'm assigned to do the bookings. The residents call to the city to be serviced, and these items is large furniture, mattress, and appliance. The residents, they have 2 times a year, and these items, I put it in the back of the packer, and the packer crashes and compact these items so I can take it to the dump. My favorite part of the job is driving the truck. Since I was younger, my dream was to be a driver. And now that the City of Riverside gave me this opportunity, I really enjoy it. I'm really proud of what I do because when I go to the residents' houses, I see the faces, they're happy because we're picking up the items they don't want anymore. So I try to get in here because this is a better job for me with a better stability. And I want to too because I want to set a good example for my 2 daughters that I have. One of my hobbies that I have is go hiking. I like the outside activities like camping, and I also enjoy riding motorcycles. If I have to describe my job in one word, it will be it's perfect.
traffic and listen to Queen's Classic Radio Gaga. Now it's time to speed things up again with Poker Face. Thanks again for listening to Radio KBSR, the sound of the regiment.
Engine 1 AMR, respond with RPD for a traffic accident with injuries. In 1234 Main, cross of Columbia, 2 vehicles involved.
Each year, the Riverside City Fire Department responds to 40,000 emergency calls.
431.
And the men and women of the Riverside Police Department drive Code 3 every day.
We need your help, so you know what to do when you see emergency vehicles.
Pull to the right.
Pull to the right.
Pull to the right. So help us help you.
We need you to pull to the right.
The Riverside County Transportation Commission has partnered with California Operation Lifesaver to educate Riverside County residents about how to be safe around trains and railroad tracks. Here are 3 safety facts you need to know. First, Trespassing on train tracks is not only dangerous and can lead to serious injury, it is also illegal. Second, you may not always be able to hear a train coming, which is why it's important to always stay off and away from tracks. And finally, it can take a train up to a mile to come to a complete stop. If an object or person is on the tracks and the train can't stop in time, unfortunately, a collision may occur. Now that you're the expert, you can help us spread the word by sharing these important safety messages with your friends and family. We thank you for practicing rail safety.
We are proud of the Riverside Police Department's tradition of integrity, service, and excellence. RPD officers are disciplined, well-trained professionals who always lean forward to make our community safer and more livable. We are always looking for mature, educated men and women who want to apply their courage and judgment to serve the people of Riverside. If that's who you are, we want to talk to you.
My name is Melissa Olmos, and I'm a driver operator in the Department of Refuse for the City of Riverside, and I've been doing this for 4 months already. I really enjoy it because this job is not like a routine, so every day is different. So I'm assigned to do the bookings. The residents call to the city to be serviced, and these items is large furniture, mattress, and appliance. The residents, they have 2 times a year, and these items, I put it in the back of the packer, and the packer crashes and compact these items so I can take it to the dump. My favorite part of the job is driving the truck. Since I was younger, my dream was to be a driver. And now that the City of Riverside gave me this opportunity, I really enjoy it. I'm really proud of what I do because when I go to the residents' houses, I see the faces, they're happy because we're picking up the items they don't want anymore. So I try to get in here because this is a better job for me with a better stability. And I wanted to because I want to set a good example for my 2 daughters that I have. One of my hobbies that I have is go hiking. I like the outside activities like camping, and I also enjoy riding motorcycles. If I have to describe my job in one word, it will be it's perfect.
Today is our very first building of a Little Free Pantry. We are building a Little Free Pantry in our community. It will be one of the 26 throughout Riverside that will help fill the gaps of food scarcity here in Riverside. Data is telling us now that 1 in 6 families are hungry. It's about 44% of adults and about 50% of children that are hungry here within our own neighborhood, in our own backyard.
Because of the pandemic, there's a lot of hunger out there. There's a lot of families in need, and we hope that this will act as a bridge until families are able to get the food that they need. I think that there are always those times where we are living paycheck to paycheck and we need just a few cans of something to get us by. So these little pantries will serve in that capacity, and we're really excited to see something that will help families in need.
And this has been a wonderful collaboration with the Riverside Mutual Aid Network, IEHP, here at Sandals Church.
Welcome back. Gazal and Jeff back with you. Third in Chicago. Riverside TV, high school football game of the week. CIF Division 5 first-round matchup between John W. North and Capistrano Valley. The Huskies on top, 28-21. And look at the numbers in the first half, Jeff. 190 total yards for J-Dub, 175 for Capital Valley. That's pretty impressive job by the defense of John W. North. The defense for J-Dub, they came in on the season allowing 203 yards per game, so you may think, oh, wow, they allowed already 175. But coming into the game, Capital Valley was averaging over 400 yards per game, and you look at the schedules, they did it against some pretty solid teams.
Look at it this way. They put up 59 points in wins. They put up 30. The games that they've played in, the scores are ridiculous. But North, like you said, has done a very good job defensively tonight against this high-powered offense. But, wow, what a great first half we saw.
Yeah, both teams, obviously this is playoff football,
yeah.
So everything but the kitchen sink is in there for both North and Capistrano Valley. And, tough draw for the Huskies. And you go 10-0 and you win your league, and you got to play a team like Capital Valley that is a league champion as well, and they've beaten 3 league champions in their schedule, and they're just battle-tested, Jeff, because they played a bunch of tough teams. We talked about it in the open.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, it does prepare you for a team like North. They don't see a lot of teams like this out in South Orange County.
Right.
But, man, this North team, they're smash-mouth football. Defensively, offensively, they're going to put them to the test.
Yeah, the advantage for the Huskies obviously is their ability to be physical, and the big boys up front, talking about Dom Vargas, TJ Tarascio, Arthur Marquez, Manny Ramirez, Andrew Castro, Maliepo Paella, rotating in there as well. So they got some big boys busting on the Cougars on the offensive side, trying to wear them down. But Capital Valley's not backing down, Jeff.
No, and they're not going to. We heard it from their coach. Their offense it becomes essentially their defense. They're going to try to outscore you, and that's what they're going to try to do here in the second half. That's the only way you're going to get past this North team.
And remember something, the one thing you got to remember about Capistrano Valley, they're okay with playing from behind. And just, and not saying that North can't do it, they just haven't had to do it, especially the last month. They played 2 close games all year. Actually, one of them wasn't that close. They went up to Summit, and they played Pat Mathany's team, and they handled Summit 26-6. Their closest game was the game they played against Orange Vista, Jeff. They played Orange Vista on the 1st of October. It was the opening game in league play. It was 20-10 at Orange Vista. That was the last real tight game they played.
Yeah, and you think about this. If you're North, you probably haven't played your starters an entire game all season long. And you look at Capital Valley, they've had to play their starters all season long.
Right.
It comes down to the fourth quarter. Who's going to be in better shape if it's a close game? And you hope that North can take care of the football.
And you remember, Capital Valley's missing 2 key guys on defense. And I think, obviously, North has been able to exploit that a little bit. And they'll get the ball to start the second half. Kickoff coming up, Dylan Fingrish. Onside kick. And Capo got the first shot, but did it go 10 yards? That's the question. I saw a Capital Valley player with a hand on it, and the Cougars recover. So Sean Curtis going to the Sean Payton playbook. The onside kick coming out here in the second half. Cougars get the football.
And we got a shout out to Anaya.
And that's a tough break for North. North had all the momentum going into halftime.
Oh, and Fingrish recovers his own onside kick. How about that? And Coach Curtis was very complimentary of his kicker. He said, hey, he was the best player on our freshman team. He's a football player. He's a wide receiver. We needed a kicker. He's a sophomore. He's going to come and play and kick for us, and he's done a great job for them. 40% of his kicks have gone for touchbacks. He is now, with the 3 PATs today, 43 of 44 on point after touchdowns, and more importantly, recovers the onside, 1st and 10 Capo Valley from the North 47. Play action, they swing it out to the outside. This is Hopkins. Hopkins rolls up to about the 45-yard line, and 2nd down and 8 coming up. So Hopkins, his 2nd reception, he's got 6 yards. North has done a good job containing these receivers. They really haven't allowed a lot of down-the-field stuff, Jeff.
No, they haven't, and they've stuck pretty much to man-to-man the entire first half. Let's see if they continue to do so.
Play action. Roll to the right side. The completion to Severs coming in as a tight end. And Jackson Severs down at about the 31-yard line. So a 14-yard pickup and a first down. How about that? A little bit of a wrinkle from Sean Curtis.
Yeah, he traverses to the right side of the field. Just a great play call.
Severs, the sophomore, is a linebacker, but getting some play in as an offensive player and a 14-yard pickup. So look at Severs again. He actually lined up more as like a fullback, H-back kind of a position. So from the 31, Capo Valley recovers the onside kick, and they're moving the ball down the field. And the ball's on the turf, scooped up by Kukuk. He tried to give it off to Mormon. Cash Mormon was in the backfield for Capo Valley. Mormon, the sophomore running back, and a little bit of a mishandle on the exchange. A loss on the play, second down coming up. Pulling out all the stops is Sean Curtis, the head coach for Capo Valley. Now here's Kukuk under center. And he'll roll to the left side. Here comes pressure, breaking it down. Kukuk will just burn the down. Third down coming up.
Great defense there by North.
Applying the pressure, Johnny Tupou. Third down coming up. So Curtis, the head coach for Capo Valley, has gone in and made some adjustments at half. Three receivers to the top of the formation. Split out to the near side is Kyle Felter for Capo Valley. Benedict's split out closest to your quarterback. Hopkins at the top of the screen is Mason Bliss. Don't see Owen Taylor out there. Third down. Throw to the right side. Incomplete.
I think he ran out of bounds, came back in.
We got a shout out to number 10.
So fourth down coming up.
Ball out.
First down would be right to inside the 22. So it's about 10.5 yards. So here comes Severs in. Jackson Severs, their leading tackler on the year, sophomore linebacker, is lining up with Kukuk in the backfield. Again, I don't see Owen Taylor out there, their top wide receiver. Wonder if that's an injury situation. Kukuk looks and he finds Mark Hopkins sitting down and gets inside the 9. So a 23-yard pickup and a first down as the sticks move up. Longest pass play of the evening for Capo Valley. So third catch for Hopkins on the evening. He's got 29 yards on 3 catches. First and goal from the 9 for Capo Valley. Looking to cash in the recovery of an onside kick. They came out and kicked it onside to open the second half. Felter to the top of your screen, and the near slot Hopkins. Split out to the bottom of your screen, Benedict's. The give to Cassidy, the ball's on the turf, still loose. Looks like Capo's going to retain it. It slithered out, and I think Kukuk was the one who retained possession.
3 or 4 guys looked like they had a handle on that football.
Let's see where they mark it. So lost back to the 16-yard line.
So, as I just found out, all 5 Riverside teams are leading in the second half, including Arlington.
How about that? Hopkins in motion. Kukuk was looking to throw, then pulled it down, and the ball's at the turf again. I believe Kukuk recovered that inside the 30 at about the 29. Third down coming up.
I don't know what happened. Looks like he just lost it after he.
We got a shout out to Eric.
Oh, he hit
His lineman bumped into him. Lineman knocked it away from him.
So don't disappoint me.
But now they're clearly in 4-down territory here. They're pretty comfortable with it. Fingerish is 8 of 9 on the field goal department. I believe his longest field goal of the season is 40. And he's had, I think, 4 of his 8 field goals between 35 and 40 yards. Third down. Moving to his right. Here comes the pressure up the middle. Now going to the outside. There's Wilson breaking it down. Wilson boxes the quarterback, but Kukuk keeps it alive. He'll fling it over the middle, and it's intercepted in the end zone. He was looking for Benedicts, and the big play made by Andre Lindsey. Lindsey, I was told before the year, was a bit of a surprise. Stepped up and took that corner spot, or is that Hughes? I saw Lindsey react. Let's see who made the play.
Looks like Elijah Hughes.
And looks like they're gonna might call it back. Looks like there's a flag on the play. So here's Wilson kind of breaking him down, but Kukuk, wow, what footwork. Just been so impressed with the young man tonight, and he flings it down the field. And no penalty, it's a pick. So the first turnover for Capo Valley. So Hughes with the interception. And it's 1st and 10 for John W. North. Mika Ele up the middle, and they've done a nice job as Capo Valley kind of sealing that middle. Instead, that was Hassan Elliott who went down. And Elliott's had a big game tonight.
Oh, he was great in the first half.
5 carries, 86 yards for Hassan Elliott, stepping up for the Huskies. Third quarter, 28-21, J-Dub on top. But, I mean, Capo Valley, man. Sean Curtis. He's one of those guys that comes to the crab table with a bunch of piles of chips, and he'll not afraid to put them down. Throw to Ayala with the catch. Breaks the first tackle, and then he'll be wrestled down by Benedicts.
I really like Gamble, though, in the pocket. He plays with such poise. Doesn't ever look too razzled. Just a quick flip of that wrist. He's got a great arm.
Second catch on the night for Ayala. 22 yards for him, the junior. He'll be back next year. So Calhoun, Elliott, Ayala stacked to the top of your screen. Shannon to the bottom of your screen. This is Mika Ele driving, pushing the pile, still on his feet, dives close to a first down to the 30-yard line. They'll mark it just short, and they're moving the sticks. I thought it was short, but they're moving the sticks. How about that?
Yeah, great spot there.
Second effort.
You see Mika Ele in these giant, scrums, and you expect him to just pop out at any time.
What's the old Osmond song? A little bit country, a little bit rock and roll. He's a little bit football, a little bit rugby. Because he just keeps pushing. As long as his knee's not down, he keeps moving it. From the 30, it's a 1st and 10. Movement in the middle, what was he drawn is the question. And false start called on the Huskies. It'll move back to the 25. 11th penalty on J-Dub. They had 10 in the first half.
I tell you, my guilty pleasure as a young kid was to watch the Donnie Marie show.
It's pretty popular.
It's a great show.
Here's Ayala sitting down in some space, weaving after the catch, diving over the 35 to the 36. Ball comes loose, but he was already down. So about 11 yards on the play. It'll be 2nd and 4 coming up.
Ayala. Crafty.
Ayala getting tackled by Jack Culver. I've been impressed by Culver on the defense for Capo Valley.
Is he a hockey guy?
He is the hockey guy.
Did a big cross check there.
3 to the top of the screen. Granger to the bottom of the screen. They flare it out to the outside, complete to Jeremiah Calhoun, a first down and more. He's dragging tacklers over the 46, about 10 more yards on the play. Another completion for Jaden Gamble, and Gamble's played well tonight, Jeff.
He said he's just playing, he's standing back there. He's got all the time in the world to throw, which is great for him. The receivers have come up big post, hits, extra yards. They've just churned it out.
Just very efficient. Unofficially have him 8 for 11 through the air for 121 yards. 1st and 10. They mark to the 45-yard line for the Huskies. Now Granger to the top of your screen. The high snap snared down by Gamble, and he's not going to get much help as he'll be tackled on the right side of that line. Looks like Maddox Bliss was on the first man on the spot. Little stunt. Some confusion, and then he went and ran. And actually, he ran right into Jackson Severs. That was the problem. Severs, just a sophomore, Jeff. Also a very good baseball player. 139 tackles on the year. And as a sophomore, elected captain of the defense. How about that? And Sean Curtis told me, hey, players vote. In our Capital Valley, the players vote.
That's great. Hey, and talking about Capital Valley, Coach Curtis has a Riverside connection as well. He got Coach Selway. His dad was a part of the 66 Poly Bear basketball team. That was, a phenomenal team over at Poly. Played with a guy named Kobe Dietrich, who was a great player. But his dad, Rob Selway, took the family out, and they were at Northwood High School. But it's great to meet his son. I knew him.
He has 2 sons, right? He's an older son named Rob.
Yeah. So great, very, very cool. So Rob Selway, great to meet your son, and we were hoping to see you out at Riverside, but I heard you stayed home tonight. So thanks for watching.
28-21. We mentioned some Capital Valley championships. How about the J-Dub championships? 1995 under Mark Paredes.
That's right.
And then Lou Randall won 01, 03, 06, 07. I think 03 and 06 were both undefeated championships. But Mark Paredes this year being inducted into the John W. North Hall of Fame. He is a 2021 inductee into the Hall of Fame. And Coach Paredes was the head coach at North. He had 2 different stints. He left and then came back until about 2012, his second run through.
I think he went over to San Bernardino Valley at one time.
I think we said Damien for a little bit. 2nd and 10 from the 45. This is Shannon with the handoff to Elliott. Bounces off the first contact, and then Berg brings him down after about a yard gain. Good second effort, but Damian Berg, the senior there, and man, he is Mr. Elastic. He is just everywhere, is Damian Berg for Capo Valley. Jacob Van Every, they run that 4-2-5, very aggressive.
Yes, they do.
From those safeties, they roll up, and they're really aggressive against the run. So Carson Branch into the game for J-Dub. He's to the top of your screen. Branch, the sophomore. Michaele shifts, and there's movement up front. It looks like it's going to be against J-Dub. There'll be another penalty on them. That is the 12th penalty on the Huskies.
Penalties have really hurt them in tough situations there in the first half. And we talked about they're going to have to clean it up here.
12 penalties on John W. North for 100 yards.
Oof.
And they're still leading this one, though, 28-21. We're just about to get under 3 minutes to go here in the third quarter. CIF playoff action, Division 5. I believe the Huskies are seeded 7th and the Cougars are seeded 10th. 5 is a stacked division, let me tell you. Calhoun split out to the bottom of your screen for John W. North. And it looks like Gamble is not in at quarterback. The quarterback right now is Cameron Shannon. I'm wondering if that's an injury situation. We get a look at Division 5, a heavy dose of teams out of the Inland Empire. Talked about San Jacinto. Eric Galliano's done a great job there. Our good friend Jeff Steinberg over at Beaumont. How about Nick Matheny at Summit? Is Chino Hills part of the Inland Empire? Yeah, Chino Hills part of the Inland Empire. Yeah. And then, of course, John W. North. So hopefully we can get 3 or 4 of those inland teams to advance so we can get some interesting matchups down the road. But, of course, San Jacinto and Beaumont paired against each other. That's a tough one.
That is a tough one. But yeah, you talked about Chino Hills. Since the Ball brothers have been there, we don't.
Well, I like the Ball brothers. They're doing pretty well this year.
The little one, the little Ball, he's pretty good.
And now they're going to move it. Now that one goes against Capo. That is one. That's 7 penalties against the Cougars. So a lot of confusion. 3rd down. The ball moves to midfield, so it's 3rd and 5. And now there's still more confusion.
I was just giving an update. Norte Vista up by 2, 15-13 with 8 minutes left in the 4th.
Sean Curtis, the head coach for Capo Valley, asking for an explanation, and I don't blame him. They thought it was marked off against North, and all of a sudden they marked something off against Capo, and they point in the right direction or the wrong direction. And listen, these officials are human, but I get it. There's a level of intensity here in the playoffs, and we were talking with Coach Curtis before the game, and it's like, hey, what a good year you had. Your reward is to go play J-Dub. And now they're going to move it back. And now I'm confused. Let's see. Jerry Troutman's the law, so let's see what he says. Now you have to give an explanation to Opie Vaipulu. And so he walked right over to Sean Curtis, and now he'll come over to Opie Vaipulu, and he'll need an explanation. And Coach Vaipulu, his 2nd year as the head coach, and for 2 years he was the defensive lieutenant, defensive line coach for Dennis Brown. And he and the Brown family obviously very well connected. He was a head coach for a year in 2015 at Riverside Poly. So we will have a first win in the playoffs for either Sean Curtis or Opie Vaipulu. They will have their first playoff win as a head coach tonight. Somebody's getting that one.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Okay. So order is restored. 3rd and 10 from the North 45. Here's the give to Mikaele running left. He'll surge forward into Capo Valley territory, close to a first down at about the 9-yard line. And now here's going to be some extracurricular activity, and the flags come in. So give him a 9-yard run.
It's going to come back. It's going to be a personal foul against North, and that's what we talked about. You cannot make mistakes.
So here's Venancio Mikaele. Seavers riding him down with the help of Wyatt Schultz. And then so a personal foul called against, you're right, Jeff, John W. North, so he'll march it back 15 yards. That is the 13th penalty on the Huskies, 115 penalty yards. You know, and this was an issue when we watched them against Notre Dame. They had over 100 yards of penalties.
Yeah, and they're the fouls like this, the personal fouls, the targeting, and those are things that, you know, you hope to fix. Here we are in week 11.
And that hurts because you were at a 4th and 1 where you had an option, and now at 4th and 16 you got to kick it away. And so Olin Taylor must be injured because Benedict's back to receive the punt, and he's calling for a fair catch, and he lets it bounce. And it'll bounce out of bounds at about the 38-yard line. So not a great kick. 23-yard kick for Moreno. And Capo Valley will tee it up from the 38. But to be fair, if he kicked it to the 28, I mean, with that offense, it's not a huge difference.
No, it's not.
If you want to pin him inside the 20, that's a different thing for this offense.
You know, our cracked team of investigators found out who the quarterback was at Capo Valley when they won the 1990 CIF championship. It was Tony Soliday.
How about that?
He played for Navy, I was told. So our listeners out there giving us a little history lesson.
That was Coach Eric Patton, who later coached San Clemente.
Look at you.
South Coast, that's South Orange County. A lot of good football down there. South Orange County is kind of like the IE of OC, right? It's almost like a world unto itself. Kukik will keep it, but spying him, it's funny, they must have listened to your tape. That was Mafaleo Tupo right on the quarterback, stopping him for maybe a yard on the play.
Yeah, your best runner's your quarterback. You got to put a spy on him the entire time.
And there's Tupo just riding in there. Under 2 minutes to play here in the third quarter. It's been a good one. Huskies 28-21, but the Cougars can explode at any moment. Throw to the outside, it's complete. dancing is Benedict's, and down he goes. He wasn't able to be tackled by Sione Johnny Tupou on the first effort, but the second effort, tackle brought him down, about a 2-yard pickup. And that's where North has been really good. They're not allowing a big run after catch. 7th reception for Benedict's on the evening. He's got 65 yards on those 7 catches. 3rd down. Complete for a first down. Will move the sticks into North territory at about the 44-yard line. Mark Hopkins with the reception. 15 yards on that play. So 4th catch for Hopkins. He's got 44 yards on 4 receptions, and the sticks move up for the Cougars as we're under a minute to play here in the 3rd quarter. It's one of those games, Jeff.
Well, both teams kind of figured one another out at halftime, it looks like.
Here's the give up the middle. Trying to keep this defense honest. Cassidy taking a little bit of rough and tumble. 3 yards. So Cassidy 4 carries. Well, he got a touchdown on the night. 25 yards on his 4 carries. He had a little over 300 yards coming into the game. Jaden Cassidy, the junior. Second down and 7. Clock moving. The line is the 41. Felter to the bottom of your screen. Benedict's in the near slot. Let's watch him. Here comes the blitz. They're going to try to dump it off to Hopkins. Incomplete. 3rd down.
And that is when North has been at their best defensively. They've really got to the quarterback. And watch, Kukuk is throwing it on his back feet. You do that, you are gonna win the majority of snaps here.
You know, and I wondered about that. You mentioned the blitzing in the first half, and I wondered about that because when Capital Valley is clicking, Kukuk's getting rid of the ball quickly.
Yeah, but he has been hurried pretty much most of the time here.
2 by 2 for Capo Valley. Here's the 3rd down play over the middle, in and out of the hands of Benedict's. Nearly picked off. That time it was Andre Lindsay. And 4th down. End of the 4th quarter, or excuse me, end of the 3rd quarter. 28-21 in favor of the Huskies. And, man, this has been a good one. This has been a pretty good first-round playoff game, Jeff.
We always hope for these kind of games. You know, we've had a tendency to get some bad ones, but this has been a great game so far for a first-round playoff. But North, though, I tell you what, they've got to wonder what they could have done on that last drive. They just mistake football. And I'm sure they want that back. And I'm sure Coach Vaiapulu is telling those guys, look, we're here in the 4th quarter. It's a 1-score game. We have to play smart football.
I mean, the defense gave them a lift with the pick in the end zone. That was huge coming out of that the onside kick at the beginning of the half. Get a look at the JW North huddle. CIF champions 95, 2001, 2003, 2006, 2007. Get another look at this big play. This is the big play here in the second half. Here comes the pressure. That's DeCastro, flushes Kukuk out, and Christian Wilson trying to get a shot at him. And Kukuk, you mentioned, he's backpedaling there. DeCastro with a second shot, and he just launches it down the field. And the pick in the back of the end zone by Elijah Hughes.
His escapability, though. I haven't seen a guy that can do that at a high school level as well as Kukuk.
From the 41, it's a 4th down. Kukuk. Here comes the blitz, and Paella. Walingi Paella gets to the quarterback. And the ball goes over on downs to J-Dub.
Looks like the
Harrison Abakerly also in on the sack. Another look at it. Abakerly, just a bull rush, taking up 2 blockers, and then swinging outside is Sandoval, but Paella with the pressure, and that wasn't pleasant. The wrist kind of went down as he went down. Had a similar situation last night on Thursday night in Mike White for the Jets.
That's right.
He didn't hit the ground, though, with it, but he kind of got tangled up with a player, and he had to leave the game. Now, after the game, apparently he got better, but it was just the swelling was so much that he couldn't grip the football. So hopefully, listen, I want to see Trey Kukoc back in the fourth quarter because that's where he does his magic, right? That's where he's at his best. So Jaden Gamble has left the game for the Huskies. Not sure what that's about, if that's an injury situation or not. And Mikaele sweeping to the left side. He's to the second level, rumbling, stumbling, and finally down at the 32-yard line. 21-yard run for Venancio Mikaele. He now has 72 yards on 9 carries. And this time they run left. They normally have been running right a lot. They've been running behind big TJ Tarasio. That time Arthur Marquez and Dom Vargas get the nod. They mark to the 33. Granger to the bottom of the screen. Shannon. And a whistle. False start's going to be on North. Their 13th penalty. Actually, 14th penalty.
Hey, yo, student section. I'm going to need y'all to get louder than that. Let me hear you.
So, a couple of questions. Ashar Granger, he's in the game now, but he didn't start the game, and he wasn't in until midway through the first half. Curious about that. And then also, Jaden Gamble, we haven't seen him in the second half, so hopefully not an injury situation. Young Cameron Shannon in at quarterback for John W. North.
Yeah, I haven't seen, I'm looking on the sidelines. Don't see Gamble anywhere. Hopefully he's all right.
First down. Here's the give to Mikaele, pounding inside, twisting down inside the 35 to about the 34-yard line. So got back the penalty yardage. So give him 4 on the play. Third down and 11 coming up for the Huskies. We're in the fourth quarter here. First round Division V CIF playoffs. Shannon to the outside. Complete. Calhoun close to a first down. Around the 25-yard line.
Just got an updated score. Norte Vista off a fumble. Now are losing 19-15 with just a couple minutes left in the ball game.
So to the 26-yard line. First down is at the 24. Or excuse me, 23. 3rd and 3 coming up. Shannon has been in for Gamble the entirety of this second half. Shannon to throw. Looking down the field. He's got a man but overthrown. Calhoun in coverage one-on-one with Maddox Bliss and 4th down.
Good look, though. Wide open, just a little bit overthrown there.
I mean, you wonder how many reps Cameron Shannon has had with the first team. But hey, it's playoffs. No excuses anymore, right?
Next man up.
So hopefully, again, we send our best to Jaden Gamble and his family. Hopefully Jaden's okay. I would imagine if he was, though, he probably would still be in it. And as Jeff mentioned, we kind of scanned the sideline. I do not see him, but there are a lot of personnel. He's hiding behind somebody. 4th down. Mikaele up the middle, running right. Mikaele to the house. Pay dirt for Venancio Mikaele on 4th down. 26-yard touchdown run for the senior.
You have to be happy, no flags. Wait, never mind, there's flags. On the sideline, though, I believe.
Yes, sir.
So 3rd touchdown of the night for Mikaele. He had 1 in the first quarter, 1 in the second quarter, now 1 here in the fourth quarter to make it 34-21. Unofficially, I have him for 103 yards on his 12 carries. So you got a celebration flag? Is that what they said?
Something. I'm not too sure what's going on, but they're talking to Coach Curtis over there on the sideline.
I guess they're going to ask him, do you want it on the PAT or you want it on the kickoff? I would imagine he'll just take it on the kickoff. Jerry Troutman, our white hat tonight. Long Beach crew calling this one between Capital Valley and John W. North.
Called a pretty good game, too. Apparently it's on the coaches.
So the officials writing stuff down. I don't know what they're writing down. So how does that work, Jeff, if it's on the coaches?
You know, I'm not too sure. You know, if there's an ejection, obviously, then they don't get to coach in the next game, regardless of being next week or next year.
Right.
But
and then they're going to come over and explain to Opie Vaipulu what's going on. You know, I give credit to Coach Vaipulu there. He's been very zen all year. He's been telling us all year, hey, man, it's week to week. Our goal is to just win this week, and that's it. And he wanted to kind of instill that in his team. Yeah, look at OP. PAT coming up. (35-21) as it's through. And J-Dub putting up 35 points. We're going to look at the Venancio Mikaele run, and he went to that right side again. Mikaele just running behind the two big boys, Arthur Marquez and TJ Tarasio on the right side. And once he got to the second level, you knew he was just cutting back, and it was pay dirt for Venancio. Mikaele now with the 3 touchdowns today, Jeff, over the course of his career, has 48 touchdowns. Tonight his 19th 100-yard game. The 103 yards tonight give him 3,536 yards for his career.
Not a bad career.
And we saw him, remember, as a freshman, and started as a freshman under Dennis Brown, and now the last 2 years under Coach Vaipulu.
He has been fun to watch over the years, that's for sure.
So the penalty is a 15-yarder. What are they doing? They're going to bring the ball, so I guess it's 2 15-yarders. They're bringing the ball all the way to the 30 of Capo. At this point, you may as well just onside it, right, Jeff?
I would. You might as well.
Because if they recover it, they still get the ball at the 20-yard line. So it was 2 15-yard flags. I'm guessing it was one on the player, one on the coach. Is that what happened?
That's what it looked like.
So almost evening up the penalty yardage so far. 9th penalty on Capo. 75-yard penalties on them. The Huskies already over 100 yards in penalties. They have 13. So here's the squibber fielded by Hopkins at the 10. And we're talking to Coach Curtis before the game. He said, we've probably used our hands team 8 out of 10 games this year. Severs there makes the play. It was not Hopkins. It was Jackson Severs. So that's where Capo will start it off. Well, the Cougars got the Huskies right where they want them, right? They're a come-from-behind team.
That's true.
They were trailing Trabuco Hills in the third quarter, 35-24, and rallied back to win that one, 59-56. That was the game that Coach Curtis was telling us, told the defense, hey, just let them score so we get the ball back. And sure enough, Trey Kukuk did his thing. So good to see Kukuk back behind center. 1st and 10, throw over the middle. That's Hopkins, complete to him, up to the 25-yard line, so 14 yards through the air. He's now at 199 yards on the game. Unofficially is Kukuk. 58 yards on 5 catches for Mark Hopkins, the Mission Viejo transfer. From the 25, it's a 1st and 10. Kukuk dancing, deflected, knocked down. Walingi Paea has been a big factor tonight. They're moving him around that defensive line, and he has been that X factor for John W. North, Jeff.
Well, I'll tell you what, Kukuk has just not been comfortable because he's been rushed all over the field here in the second half. They have shown blitz almost every single play, and it's really got to Capo.
2nd down. Hopkins in motion. Rolling to his right is Trey Kukuk. He's got time. He'll fling the ball down the field just in front of Benedicts. There was 3 blue shirts around Benedicts, and it's incomplete. Dane Benedict spells his name Benedix. In fact, his older brother, I believe, is on the coaching staff. When you read it quickly, it reminds me of William Bendix. Do you ever watch that old Babe Ruth movie?
Yes. With
William Bendix, yeah. He's totally wrong casting for Babe Ruth, but
yes.
Darn it, he tried.
Maybe they're related.
No, it's a different name. Bendix versus Benedix.
Oh, Bendix. I got
you. Kukuk throws to the outside. Completed about the 32, but Elijah Hughes right on there, dropping Dane Benedicts in his tracks. So
Hughes has had himself a pretty good ball game tonight with it.
Hughes had a pretty good season. How about that? Benedict's making his 8th catch on the night, and Coach Sean Curtis told us multiple times, man, he's our probably most recruitable player right now. So Felter to the top of your screen. Benedict's in the far slot. In the near slot is Hopkins. Split out to the bottom of your screen is Mason Bliss. And Kukuk is going to step up. Here's Christian Wilson. Can't quite get there. Tupou gets there. Thrown and incomplete. On the coverage, Rohan Preston against Mason Bliss. 4th down. And again, we're talking about Jaden Gamble. We have not seen Owen Taylor, the fine wide receiver for Capital Valley, in the second half. In fact, he might have actually left the game late in the first half because he wasn't back on a punt return. The senior had nearly 1,300 yards and 10 touchdowns on the year. Team guy all the way, according to his coach. Said he's a varsity player since his sophomore year. And in fact, his sophomore year, he kind of was lost in the shuffle because they had some great wide receivers. And rather than be disgruntled or threaten to transfer, he was a team guy. Played wherever they needed him. Special teams, played on defense.
Gotta love those kind of kids.
That's how you build a program, though. That's how you build a program. You can't just tell somebody they're going to get their turn. They have to see it, and that's a culture they have put in at Capital Valley. So the 4th down play falls short, and the ball goes to John W. North. And then a timeout on the field. Here with 8:05 to play in the 4th quarter, 35-21, the Huskies leading Capo Valley.
I just found out that Norte Vista has just taken the lead with 2 minutes to go. They are now up 21-19.
Wow. Well, it's on the defense now. Andy Martinez.
It's all on Andy. Put up 19 points on Norte Vista. They only 31?
31 on the year.
Yeah. Wow.
But wasn't one of them you said it's off a turnover, right?
Yes.
That doesn't go against the defense.
Yes.
So from the 32, the Huskies 1st and 10. Cameron Shannon turns and gives to Hassan Elliott. And Elliott twisted down, tackle on the play made by the freshman for Capo Valley, Riley Walker. He actually ran into the back of one of his own linemen. I think he bumped into Manny Ramirez there and took a tumble. But the idea now is to keep the clock moving. Nominal gain for Elliott. Walker's a good story, too. A freshman, he stepped in when Caden Pasqua went down. He's one of their leading tacklers at the time of his injury. And since then, Walker's been really good for Sean Curtis and his defensive coordinator, Jacob Von Every. 2nd and 9, line is the 31. They'll give the ball to Elliott, hurdles into the second level, and touchdown, John W. North. 31-yard touchdown run for Hassan Elliott, Jeff. That could be the coup de grace tonight.
Boy, he has been just explosive tonight. He's had 2 or 3 runs just like that. And his breakaway speed, man, what a great game from both of those tough little running backs.
121 yards on 7 carries for Elliott, 2 touchdowns. And the PAT coming up with 7:14 to play in the 4th quarter. Elliott with a 31-yard run. He had a 7-yard run earlier in the 2nd quarter. And the Huskies doubling up the Cougars. So the Huskies, look at the hurdle in the middle there, and Colby Hauser just can't quite wrap him up. Second round matchup, the winner of Oaks Christian Pacifica.
Oof.
So obviously if Oaks Christian wins, they're the home team this week, then it would be a coin flip to determine if the Huskies would get that second home game. Which I think would be big for them. I think, the crowd is excited tonight about J-Dub football.
As well they should be. Number one team in Riverside all season long, from week 1 to week 10.
And you feel good for the, Opie Vaipulu, and you feel good for Dennis Brown. And
Great guys.
Yeah, just good, and they do it the right way, and they have the right priorities. Here's the kickoff. Hopkins will bring it back out at the 20-yard line. I'll say this. The Cougars still have the ability. I think that the North defense has done a tremendous job because this is such a potent offense, Jeff. They put up just prodigious numbers all season, and they implemented a game plan, and they executed the game plan. And that's hard. That's not easy. And they had, the penalties. We have 13 penalties here, which didn't help, but they've done a nice job. Everybody kind of committing and doing their part and playing as a team.
Yeah, and that's all you can really ask for. But, those mistakes, luckily they haven't cost them too much tonight, but the games are going to get a lot tougher with each win.
From the 20, it's a 1st and 10 for the Cougars. Here's the pressure. Kukuk will just tuck it under and get out of bounds over the 35. Check that, over the 25, excuse me. And let's say something. I'm impressed with the defense, and we were impressed with the John W. North defense all year, but this is probably the highest caliber offense they've gone against. And I think they got to maybe send a little gift over to Rancho Verde, because while Rancho Verde doesn't execute at the level Capo Valley does, they kind of simulate almost like a scout team version, right?
Yeah.
They have the speed, they have the guys on the outside, they have the skill guys, as Kukuk again flushed out. He's going to fling the ball down the field. He's got a man, and that's a completion to the 30-yard line. That's Mark Hopkins making the snare, and that'll be a 42-yard completion. And we talked about how they can do the quick strike, and that's what we're talking about. Hopkins, his 6th catch on the evening, and Kukuk just buying time, moving around, figuring out, and just flinging it down the field. And nice reception there. Hopkins going up and getting that one. The coverage was Elijah Hughes. From the 35 now. Kukuk again. He'll fling it down. Incomplete. Coverage on the play by Devin Toki. 2nd and 10 coming up. And unofficially, Jeff, that was the 40th pass attempt for Trey Kukuk tonight. He tipped a cat to that man as well.
Exactly. I'm telling you, this has been a fun game. I mean, honestly, we came in, didn't know what to expect. You have, like you said, two varied, different the way teams play. North, though, just phenomenal defensively against this high-powered offense.
From the 35. 2nd down. He's got time this time. Deflected and picked off. That time it was Andre Lindsey. Lindsey back to the 46-yard line with the interception, and Trey Kukuk made the tackle if he didn't do everything else.
And we're going to see a lot of putting the ball on the ground here.
Yeah, they're just going to try to burn the clock now. Kukuk had a little bit of time there, flings it over the middle. It was deflected, though, by the receiver. Hopkins, the intended receiver, the tip drill at this point, and Andre Lindsey makes the interception. And he's a guy that Coach Vaipulu told me, man, he was a bit of a surprise. He's a guy that really stepped up. He took over that spot, and he's held it down. And how about Trey Kukuk just hustling all the way and making the tackle?
You got to love it. Got to love the effort.
So Kukuk's 41st attempt intercepted by Andre Lindsey. That is his 5th pick on the season. And Lindsey, the junior, he's back next year for Coach Vaipulu. And it's 1st and 10 Huskies from the 46. Here's the give to Elliott dancing in the backfield, and then down he goes. Berg was there, but riding him down was Jack Larkin as well. And then Riley Walker gets up in the bottom of the pile. And all the Huskies are concerned with now is just keeping this clock running, 42-21. And they will move on to take on the winner of Oaks Christian and Pacifica out of Oxnard.
That'll be a great game.
That'll be
as well.
interesting. Yeah, Oaks Christian, the number 2 seed in Division 5.
And it looks like possibly all 5 Riverside teams will have a victory tonight.
That'll be wonderful.
Riverside Poly up big late in the fourth quarter, up 28-14.
Mikaele running the left side this time, dragging tacklers, burrowing forward to the 43 on the Capo Valley side of the field. Nice little 12-yard run there for Mikaele, just boosting up his statistics. 13th carry for Mikaele. He's got 115 yards and those 3 touchdowns. You know, this is one of those games where we're going to learn a lot about both teams, right? And obviously, you don't doubt the talent on John W. North, but you're concerned, right? Because when you don't have to play 4 quarters and you play a team that's done nothing but play 4 quarters, that's the anxiety that comes in with coaches. Here's the give to Elliott running to the right side, trying to run through the tackle. Hauser had him, but then cleaned up by Berg.
And that's been the bane of Norte Vista's existence.
Right.
Is because, they were beating teams so bad that they were done by the second quarter, and when they get in the playoffs, their stamina and strength wasn't there.
And you always hear, and you were a basketball coach, so you will say this too, there's really no way to simulate game speed. Right?
You can't.
And that's the whole thing is, I was talking to Matt Walter, the line coach for North before the game, and I said, intellectually, I know what Capo does well, and I know what you do well, but I don't really have a feel. And then part of it was we couldn't watch, there was no games for Capo that we could watch, kind of get an idea. And here's Elliott again. Elliott finds some space, cuts back inside. He'll come down inside the 20-yard line. Tackle made by Colby Hauser on that play.
And here's a surprise for everybody listening. Arlington 22. They won 22-20. Arlington wins. Poly wins 34-14. North is going to win.
Wow.
Norte Vista's going to win.
Well, we said all year, hey,
and
this is the best the River Valley League has been since we've covered it. We did both say that.
Yes, we did.
Yeah. So congratulations to all those coaches. So a 25-yard run down to the 21-yard line. Here's Mikaele. He'll just run inside, and he tumbles down at about the 11-yard line.
I can't remember a team, Riverside having 5 wins, 5-0.
So sorry, the line of scrimmage there was the 16, so about 5 yards for Mikaele on the plays. They'll continue to melt the clock. So Mikaele and Elliott both over 100 yards today. And really, I told Matt Walter, I said, hey, this game's going to come down to your guys. And let's give kudos to the big boys up front. Dom Vargas, Andrew Castro, TJ Tarasio, Arthur Marquez, Manny Ramirez, and we'll throw Maliepo Paea in there as well. They did a tremendous job tonight.
Just a great game plan. I mean, honest to goodness, North came in and did exactly what they were supposed to do.
Elliott dancing, runs up against Sievers. He'll hold them up and wait for help. The pile's still moving, and it's blown dead. Clock will move down to the 2-minute mark, and J-Dub they're looking for something special, Jeff. They're looking for a great season, a great finish to this story. So they stop the clock because it's a first down. It'll be first and goal from inside the 5. And you had that classic 2006 team under Lou Randall that made that run. Here's the interesting thing is North won 01-03, 06-07. That 2002 team, they made the final. They lost to Centennial 57-55 in 3 overtimes.
No!
Think about that.
Man.
Option, Shannon, touchdown Huskies. Cameron Shannon steps in for the starter Jaden Gamble in the second half. There's no sideline report tonight, folks, so we have no idea on Gamble. But Shannon has done an admirable job managing this team here in the second half, the young sophomore, and he gets a touchdown for his trouble there, and that probably does it here at 3rd and Chicago.
Yeah, hopefully Gamble's okay, but like I said, Shannon did a great job. I mean, he shows an extra wrinkle with that quickness we've seen.
Another look at that play. Got 2 men in the backfield. They'll run right. They'll run behind the big right tackle, TJ Tarasio. And it's funny, he was talking to Matt Walter before the game, and he said, I didn't realize, and I knew this, but it had to be explained to me, right? So Jaden Gamble's a lefty. So his blind side's the right side. So Tarasio plays right tackle because that's the blind side for J-Dub.
So he protects him.
He protects the blind side, yeah. Saw the movie, read the book. PAT coming. Blocked. So the PAT is blocked. It's 48-21. The first miss on the point after. Another look at that touchdown, Jeffrey. A nice block there by Elliott. Just chipping. Touchdown North. So 97 seconds to play, Jeff. You have any last shout-outs for Capo Valley?
Honest to goodness, it's great talking to the coach. We had an opportunity this week to get to know him a little bit. I've always been a fan of Capo Valley, basketball, football, all around. They showed tonight that they are a great bunch of guys.
Yeah.
They just came up short against a phenomenal North defense.
I mean, having gone to school in Irvine, I had a chance to cover the South Coast League when I was in college, and I think we did a game at Irvine Stadium where we had to call, Rick Curtis was the AD at the time. We had to call him to arrange a phone line back in the old days, right? So I told Sean, I said, and a number of my friends went to University High where he had coached. I think he had left before any of them got there. The kickoff fielded at the 10-yard line for Capo Valley. That was Mark Hopkins, and he goes down just over the 20-yard line.
And
late
hit.
I agree with you. I mean, Coach Curtis was very accessible for us, very pleasant, and he's got an interesting football history with his dad and just his own story.
Yeah, it's great.
Going to play. He played at Northwood, and he went to try to walk on at Arizona State, and everything was looking good. And then the year that he was supposed to be in there, the spring, they brought in Dennis Erickson, who was the new coach, and he kind of changed things around. But it opened the door for Coach Curtis. After school was over, he just came back, started working with his dad, helping out in the spring and summer practices. And then we mentioned he had the financial services job as a penalty. We'll tack on 15 yards to that, the personal foul, the 14th penalty on the Huskies. We'll move the ball to the 40-yard line. So it looks like Oaks Christian up by 11 on Pacifica, and then the winner of that game will play the winner of this one. As Hopkins with the catch, he'll slither up to about the 48-yard line, so about 8 yards on the play. And I love the 42nd attempt for Kukuk, and I just love that he's still out there slinging it, man. And he's got another year at Capo Valley, and I think if you're a Capo Valley fan, you have a lot of reasons to be excited to have that young man back for you. 2nd and 1 coming up. Kukuk back to throw, dancing. He'll weave up through some space. He's into the north side of the field and steps out at the 41-yard line. Coach Curtis told me a great story about his QB, Trey Kukuk. So they had a senior playing in the spring, and Kukuk was a sophomore, and they knew, he said, hey, he played for our freshman team. He was really good. We knew how good he was. He went and played linebacker in the spring.
What?
Because he wanted to help the team.
Yeah, he just wanted to play.
He's just one of those kids that wanted to help the team, and he was top 3 or 4, one of the top 3 or 4 tacklers. That's the kind of player that he has on that team, and that's the kind of culture that Coach Curtis likes to build. They have their motto is "We before me." Benedict's in motion. Kukuk back to throw, dancing up. He'll fling the ball down the field, and picked off by Lindsey. Brought down by Bliss inside the 5 at about the 1-yard line. So 3rd pick thrown by Kukuk tonight. Andre Lindsey. What a game for that young fella. And he's one of those guys, too, you feel happy for because Nothing was guaranteed for him. He had to come in and win his spot this year, Jeffrey.
Yeah, and you can't be happier for a guy like that. I mean, he goes to the sidelines. Everybody loves him. You can tell he's just happy to be out there. But we do have some news. Within less than a minute left, Norte Vista gets safetied. Tie ball game.
Wow. A safety. Oh.
21 apiece. They were up 21-19. That's 21 apiece.
How about that?
Within a minute, they were winning.
I wonder if it happened on a punt. I wonder how it happened. Because that we've seen a couple of punts. Remember this year when the punts go. What was that? Was the Hillcrest Poly game? Remember?
It was.
It's flipped on a punt. Yeah, on a safety on a punt. This is Shannon running outside and going down, and the clock keeps moving. Under 40 seconds to play. I wonder in this situation, you don't get anybody hurt as Shannon gets pulled up. Hopefully we'll get an update on Jaden Gamble as well. Jaden Gamble left the game, did not play at all in the second half for North. He's the starting quarterback for the Huskies. And on the Capital Valley side, Owen Taylor, their fine two-way player. He's a wide receiver and a quarterback, as well as being a punt returner. We did not see him. I think he left probably midway through the second quarter.
Yes.
And so hopefully they're both okay. I'm just guessing their injury situations as here comes the kneel down, and the Huskies are on to the second round. They will face Oaks Christian in the quarterfinal of the Division V playoffs, 48-21. An impressive victory tonight over Capital Valley. This is a good Capital Valley team out of South Orange County, and the Huskies handled their business here at home tonight.
They did. They did exactly what you said. They handled their business. They played with poise on offense and defense. They played smart football for the most part, other than the penalties. But, wow, what a great game plan by Coach Vaiapulu as they take out a very potent offense in Capital Valley.
100-yard performances for both Venancio Micaele and Asan Elliott. They both did a great job on the ground, and they really chewed up that ground against Capital Valley. We knew Capital Valley would give up some yardage on the ground, and the Huskies were able to execute that game plan. And what can you say about Trey Kukuk, the quarterback for Capital Valley? He just kept coming at the Huskies. Didn't quite work out for him, but what a spirited player he was. What a leader he is for that Cougar team.
A great player, like I said, and continued to throw the football. Only a junior, already holds the Orange County record for most yards in a game. I'll tell you what, a lot of guys would love to play with him.
And the last thing I want to do, though, is I want to give kudos to the big boys up front for John W. North. Dom Vargas, TJ Tarasio, Arthur Marquez, Manny Ramirez, Andrew Casto, Maliepo Paella. What a job they did tonight to control the line of scrimmage and really control the energy in this game tonight, the physicality on the offensive side for John W. North.
Yeah, the physicality. I mean, and they were in great shape. They looked like they were in game shape the entire time. For a team that didn't get to play all four quarters, they played all four tonight.
48-21 the final here from 3rd and Chicago on campus at John W. North. The Huskies advance. They will play the winner of Oaks Christian and Pacifica Oxnard. When we last checked, it was 34-23 in favor of Oaks Christian. For Jeff Gorham and our entire award-winning Riverside TV crew, my name is Ghazal Hassan. We'll talk to you next time. So long, everybody.